Did we? What happened?
Actually, that's a question I have for you guys. What did happen last time?
We went to the city of Ravinium. We did some shopping.
Oh, that's right. Got a bunch of
We
new
met
stuff.
with Cicero, who had us do a job for the senator to find out what's happening with these missing bodies. We found out that the caretaker has been letting some schmuck in and taking the bodies. And now we are hiding out and trying to catch him.
Yes, specifically, we ended right when I believe it was Hecko was in a tree and saw the offender. Also, Ethan, the mic is picking up a lot. A lot of breathing.
Oh.
I'm not sure if you can do anything about the sensitivity. Not that's all right.
Sorry, is it?
It's better.
Okay.
So yeah, specifically, Hecko was Severus in a tree, nice and quiet. The graveyard has been empty for quite a while. The rest of you guys are camped out some distance away in a distant farm field, and Severus has been getting harassed by a invisible force. Little leaf dropped on his head, and just overall being menaced. But you see a lone figure walking along the road towards the graveyard, Severus. He has a bit of a slow gait. He's like looking to his left and right, seems nervous about his approach to the graveyard. It's just you, Severus. None of your companions are nearby.
Yeah, I guess I'll just... where's he going from to?
He's coming from the city, specifically from the western gate, making his way to this graveyard. He's walking in your direction, but hidden amongst the leaves of the tree, and especially considering that whatever force was harassing you has ceased its harassments. You're very stealthy in this tree. It is very unlikely he'll spot you as he approaches the graveyard.
I'll stay in my tree until he passes me, and then when he's in a okay distance where I can still spot him easily enough, I'll try to drop down the tree and follow him.
Okay. So, I believe the tree you were in was inside of the graveyard, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So then you see him approach the attendant at the entrance. The attendant, you can see you can't really see all of him because he's inside of his booth, but you can see his hands, and just his hands alone are enough to indicate to you that he's very nervous. You see him collect a large coin purse from the cloaked figure, and the attendant begins to lead the cloaked figure into the graveyard. You can see the attendant is looking around, like almost expecting you guys to emerge from any corner. And he's like looking around. He looks really nervous. The cloaked figure seems nervous himself, though. In fact, both of them are balls of nerves as they walk through the graveyard towards a plot of recently buried graves.
I'll try to follow them.
Yeah, roll me a stealth check. And you have advantage because something is whispering.
Oh, I thought I have advantage because my cloak of elvenkind.
Also that, so there's no such thing as double advantage, so...
Double advantage, take a Chad.
Bro. Yeah, you move with utter silence.
Oh my god!
Yeah. Hedgerows and bushes behind the cloaked figure. You keep a distance, and the one time that the man goes to look back, all he sees is a hedgerow with something perfectly blended into it, because your elvenkind morphs, cloak of elvenkind morphs and shifts resemble the terrain behind you. And you can even get close enough to overhear the conversation. The attendant is quiet until they get to the plot, and then he begins to babble about the names of the people there and when they were buried. The cloaked figure seems to have no interest until he speaks up and says, "Well, any health ailments? Do they have any disease?" The attendant shakes his head. "Cause of death?" The attendant sort of looks around again, expecting you guys to. He says, "Well, one of them was hit by a carriage, another one fell to I don't know, just a chill. And the other one there, a work accident." You see the cloaked figure. For a moment, you see almost like a professor, like some sort of academic sort of lean back and see their hand disappear under the darkness of their hood to begin to stroke their chin. Your companions are some distance away, but what I recall them saying is that they're still within audio range. So, are you going to go and recover your companions and bring them to the graveyard, or do you intend to take care of this? Yes?
If I have the chance, I was gonna look through Hegel occasionally.
Yeah, certainly.
And
if you
I
guys are
see
within sound
something, then
range.
I'll let everyone know.
Yeah.
He's not within range?
No, he is within range.
Oh. Okay.
The 4 of you guys are all in this hedgerow to the east of the graveyard. And occasionally Zednius' eyes roll back into his head. But this time, when they roll back into position, Zednius, you had seen Hetikal on Severus's head, looking out towards the cloaked figure speaking with the grave tender.
Okay. Everyone, I think the man is on his way. He's approaching. Someone's approaching.
Should we go?
Should we go now, or should we wait to confirm?
I think we should go now. Or at least set up in position.
Yeah, let's get in position.
So, there are 2 entrances that you guys found to the graveyard. The rear one is locked by a padlock. The front one is also locked, but it was opened by the grave tender. So, what is position? Like, are we setting up at the entrances, or are we trying to sneak into the graveyard itself to where the cloaked figure is?
Can we see the map even if parts of it are like blocked off?
There is a map.
No map?
I don't think we'll need a battle map soon.
Oh, goodness. As in you don't believe in us?
I didn't say that.
As in, it's not a combat, probably.
Could be.
If I straight up attack, that would probably be combat, huh?
But yeah, the rough layout of the graveyard is
right now we're attacking.
if there's there's an entrance to the thing, which you guys were at before. But generally, the graveyard is laid out into 4 distinct quadrants. So yeah, if you want to prevent his escape from the graveyard entirely, you can block off the exits, or if you'd like to move in on him, do that. That will require stealth, of course.
I think we can just move in on him. Oh.
Unless you just want to show your presence and say, fuck it, advance from all directions and just give him no choice but to hold his ground.
I think that he might be able to either go invisible or use some sort of dark magic. So if we are going to ambush him, I feel as though we should only do so extremely stealthily. Otherwise, we could just block off the exit so that he has to encounter us.
Have we decided he's a necromancer?
We don't know anything about him.
He's pulling up freshly dead bodies.
Consistently.
I feel
Regardless
as though
of whether
we
he is
should.
one, he's associated with one, is what it sounds like.
I mean, digging
okay.
up freshly dead bodies is quite suspicious.
Well, I don't know. People are weird. You never really know.
The good old people are weird excuse.
when you hear horses, when you hear hoofbeats, think horses, not zebras.
I know, and that's what we're saying. When you see someone digging up freshly dead bodies, you typically think necromancy, not just, I don't know, fondling the dead, necrophilia. What do you think this is?
I mean, if I was right outside of the Deadwood, maybe, but we're in the city. Maybe.
Necromancy is everywhere.
Deadwood is very close. Keep in mind.
Well, yes, but we're
within
still
sight,
in the
actually.
I don't know how you guys are still doubting that there's necromancy around these parts after
I'm
we've
not doubting.
dealt with it firsthand.
Okay, I'm not saying there is no necromancy. I'm just saying, how do we know this is necromancy?
Well, he's digging up dead bodies that are freshly dead.
We can
Sure,
find out pretty
maybe
quick if we
maybe-
Yeah, I
apprehend
mean,
him.
it doesn't take that
Maybe
long
he
to
needs.
find out.
Maybe he needs fingers.
So
You know,
while you guys are discussing this avenues of approach and how to approach it all, Severus, you're watching these 2. And the grave tender just gets to work. You can see he's apprehensive about it because he knows you guys are somewhere around here, just not specifically where. So he just begins to dig away at the grave and throwing great clods of earth up onto the ground beside him, frequently looking over his shoulder. And the cloaked figure doesn't seem too in tuned to, social cues, so he doesn't seem to quite realize that the
guard is worried.
Yeah, the grave tender is worried until eventually it snaps. And you watch as the cloaked figure, you watch as he sort of cocks his head and you hear him speak. Is anything wrong? You seem a bit off. The grave tender turns towards him and says, off? No, just some, mourners today. It's a sad day, sad
my
day.
bow.
All right, you take out your bow. And you watch as the grave tender, he
I
begins to
want to look at an arrow.
Yeah, the grave tender begins to do that, another sort of panic scan of the surrounding. And this time the cloaked figure follows his gaze and begins to look around the surrounding hedgerows. They don't spot you, of course. 29 is ridiculous. But, they he does a very thorough glance and watches the cloaked figure says, did something happen?
Armed?
Roll perception check. because not visibly, not obvious, but you may see any hidden
God.
shapes.
Is Hetagal helping me with this? Can he
Etigal,
help me with perceiving?
no, Yogi's AFK, so I don't think he can say. So just roll it normally.
All right.
Wow. Yeah.
Oh,
you,
okay, never mind.
You can just see he's in a cloak, which covers up much of his form. It seems intentional,
Oof.
so you're not able to make out any shapes underneath robes.
To you, it looks like his entire body is covered with weapons. He's made of.
No. But yeah, the cloaked figure, you see him sort of walk over to the grave tender, and he's trying to keep his voice down, but with a 29, you are so close that you're able to hear every word, and he says, "Did something happen? Perhaps someone visited. That's where their loved one was." The grave tender looks at him, and he's the worst liar ever. He's already sweating, and he says, "No family members came. It was just a couple of people interested in things." And the cloaked figure looked at him, sort of a flat expression, and turns
I want
towards
to cast.
Yep.
I want to cast sleep on specifically so that only the man on the cloak is in the radius.
Is it what's the radius on it?
It's probably gonna hit the guard if
Well,
it's anything
20
even slightly
feet.
big.
Yeah, you could probably get
don't
it where it
think-
doesn't hit the grave tender.
Doesn't sleep work? I thought sleep worked with based off the hit points of the person.
So it's an AoE with an ascending order of hit points. So the lowest hit point creature first, then the highest.
Yes, and which is why I'm using it like this, because I don't really care about the grave tender. He can run away for all I care. We've already decided that we're not going after him. And B, I don't want the air to roll HP and then end up rolling like 24. The guy on the cloak has 25, 20,
Yeah,
22.
of course.
And then I take like 8 from the grave tender.
So you're casting this at first level?
I only have first level spell slots.
Okay, great. Then roll your 5d8.
Does this do automatically? No, of course not.
Is it not? I actually thought it was. If it succeeds,
Imagine being
their
on
HP.
Foundry. 17.
Oh, you meant that part. Is it? Oh, you can program that. You
it's
reach
called
out your
Foundry.
hands and cast a spell, and for a brief moment, you watch as the cloaked figure looks towards you. With all the stealth in the world, you can't cover up you speaking. But as his eyes make contact with yours, his lids sag, his eyes close, and he falls to the ground. And you watch as the grave
And I
tender
will
drops his
instantly
shovel in
sprint
surprise.
to him.
Yeah, I mean, the grave tender drops his shovel in surprise, raises his arms, and say, "He was forcing me to do it, practically at weapon point."
Calm down. It's all okay.
We hear this.
Yeah,
Just go home.
I think you guys are like, you're still
Yeah,
planning.
we
Like,
jump
all right,
in.
maybe we approach from the other, and then you hear, you
Got
and
it.
Grave
When I
Tender
hear
shouting.
something drop, I just start sprinting.
Yeah, you
we
guys,
run over there.
yeah, you're planned about too much, and as you guys leap over the fence, like all four of you sort of gangly, like running in there, you just see,
Blink, blonk.
yeah, you just see the cloaked figure asleep and Severus standing over him with a weapon.
Yeah,
Am
I
I
want to
able to
search him and take away his weapons if he
Did
has
you
any.
kill him?
Am I
No,
also able to
he's
tie
just
him
asleep.
up with hempen rope?
Oh.
I have
Yeah,
it
you
on
sure
me.
you can. Yeah, Radazma, you begin to rush
I'll
over
help
to
him with
the
that.
cloaked figure, and Severus, you begin to feel this guy, and you're actually able to pull back the robes, and you see a young man, maybe like late 20s ish. He has a tome at his waist. He has fine clothes underneath. He has a signet ring on his finger, denoting a great clan, though I don't think you would recognize it at first glance. And it seems to indicate a person of high, almost scholarly class. And then Renesmee and you can tie ropes around his hands, which wouldn't take damage. So I don't think...
I would like hands and feet. Like I'd like
Okay.
to,
I'd like
like
to-
hog tie him pretty much.
I'd like to.
Yeah.
If I have a chance, I'd like to take that tome and see what's inside.
Yeah, as they're hog tying him, you reach down to grab the book. Now, Severus, you are aware that shaking someone and taking an object off of a secure point in their waist would wake them up. Do you allow Zednius to wake up this prisoner?
I want to say just let's tie him up first. Because he might. I don't want him to wake up just yet. Also, gag him in case he's his magic caster.
Yeah, gag him first. I would hate for us to tie him up and then him to twist away.
Yeah, just
That
just
does
step
make
away.
sense. Can I gag him?
With what?
1 sec. Let me see what I got on me. Can I use the rope to gag him as well?
I mean, that's some like intense rope stuff. But yeah, I think you probably could find a way to contort it so it gets from the feet to the mouth.
Cool.
It's
I'm
not-
also
Peach
gonna.
is professional
I'm also
person.
going to take off a sock and I'm gonna shove one of my socks in his mouth and then put the rope over it.
That would absolutely work. So
Disgusting.
yeah, you are very
Cool.
thorough. Yeah, I mean,
It is.
it is gross, but that is what you got to do.
Well, you know.
Yeah, wait, shouldn't have been robbing graves. The grave tender just sitting here petrified during this whole thing. And as you shove the sock into the mouth, I think that's probably enough, like a shake awake, and you watch as the eyes of this, whoever it is, flutters open, and he begins to, speak, but then realizing there's a sock in his mouth, begins to gag, and within seconds, there's just like this gagging, sort of spitting mess on the ground.
Can I take out my...
Morning.
What is it?
Well, we need to tie him up first.
He's
my
already tied you.
rapier.
He's already tied up and
Yeah.
gagged.
Can I
Put
take
it
out
back
my
there.
rapier
Yeah.
and put it to his neck and be
Rapier?
like, yeah, rapier.
Yeah.
And
You
be
mean
like,
rapier?
The
"Good
French way
morning,
to say it.
darling.
Yeah, he looks
Wait, that's
horrified of
the
you guys.
proper way.
Well. Someone's been robbing graves, haven't they?
He uses his head, and it seems like he's trying to gesture towards his hand. With his head.
I'll look at his hand.
There's a
What was
signet ring
the-
there.
Tome.
I'll look at the signet ring. I'll say, like, take it off his hand.
Yeah, as you remove the signet ring, Maximus, you reach down and grab the tome, Zednius, and it is a book on anatomy. Very thorough.
What is that?
There are illustrations of bodies, like with half the skin folded off, and then the muscle layer underneath, and then the bones and organs underneath.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I'll look at him and I'm say, you're not a necromancer, right? You just
He
studying
shakes his head
anatomy.
incredibly aggressively.
What is? Do I recognize the signet ring?
Yes, you would. I think you, because you're from the Empire, and you're more integrated in the Empire than Severus. So yeah, you would recognize that as Clan Fabricio.
And what's that clan all
Is
about?
that Peachachoo?
Great
the
clan
magic
of
clan?
magic.
I am in.
Yeah,
that.
I'm in Fabricia
Oh.
as well.
Yeah, half the party is.
Renesmee, I told you he was just some weirdo.
Well,
He shakes
if
his
I
head
was a
aggressively.
necromancer, I would carry him out in an anatomy
I'll
book
ungag
as
him.
well.
If you want, I can
Stop
speak
him
to him
from
without
ungagging
ungagging him.
him.
All right,
I
yeah,
have my
Renesmee
hands
places her hand
closer.
over his mouth. Yeah.
Do not touch this sock. We don't know if he's a
What-
magic caster.
I can
Well,
speak with
Lance,
him
he
without
was
ungagging
well,
him.
He's
Well-
not a. He's a wizard. We've taken that away. Well,
What
I
clan are
don't
you
see
in,
any spells in
Renesmee?
here.
In
And what is this guy?
Fabricia.
That
I'll show her the ring.
Severus is trying to desperately gesture that he can speak to him while he's untied.
Well,
just
or
so
while he's
you
tied.
don't need to ungag him. I can speak to him. I can message
Oh.
chat with him.
Okay, yes, you do that. Just to be safe, guys. He could be a spellcaster.
He could
Yes.
be a spellcaster. Oh, my brain.
Yes,
He
even if we
probably
take
is.
the-
He's playing Fabricia. Come on. Maximus, don't
Even if
mock
we
us.
take away all of his shit, even an absolutely naked spellcaster can still cast just using his voice and his magic. Okay.
Sure.
So
Of course.
you cast message
So,
towards this man. What did you
I'll-
give
I'll
him in the message?
I'll start with, who are you?
I am Cassius Optima Lucullus Fabricia.
Can you repeat that a bit slowly? Casimir?
Cassius Optima Lucullus Fabricia.
That's Harkon to post in chat like he always should.
Yes, please.
Wait, I think
Why
I got
does
it.
every NPC need to be there? Yeah, that's close enough.
Because if the people are gonna have notes, they just what do we
You don't need to
Wait,
have
how-
notes on every NPC.
Yeah, the fucking.
where was I wrong?
We have the gremlins.
No,
over
it's
here.
just it's pronounced right. You did it fine. You're good. English is not phonetical. It's fine.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah, but Latin is, and these are Latin names.
Sure.
Based.
Anyway. Now I'll message him again and say, why are you digging up these corpses?
I'm a doctor of medicine. I need bodies.
I don't think this is illegal though.
Is he lying?
Can I ungag him yet?
Did you tell if he's lying? You have no
No.
social cues to look at him. You just hear his voice in your
Yeah.
head. You can't see his eyebrows blinking or anything. All the stuff you normally associate with someone being untruthful.
No, I'll say it out loud, and I'll say it very, well, looking at it very closely. Are you a spellcaster?
He nods.
Fancy. Look at that. If we ungag you, are you gonna kill us?
He shakes his head thoroughly.
Are you
Not
going
gonna try
to
anything
run
super
away?
hard.
Are you going to disappear?
He shakes
Lars
his
is gonna
head.
cut in and say, "Why are we doing all this, guys? He probably doesn't even know who we are. Just tell him who we are, and it's gonna go a lot simpler."
True.
That's a good point.
Well,
Or judges.
Well, I mean, we have judge badges all on, right? We didn't. put
This
them
is
away.
true.
could.
Yeah.
We need to look at him.
hear me out. We
I'll-
could
I'll
cut out his
ungag him.
tongue and have him. No.
I think it's a little extreme, Renesmee.
Oh,
Whoa,
No,
whoa,
he
whoa,
could
whoa.
write
the moment
out
she
his
says that, I'll
answers.
just ungag him.
I roll
you-
my eyes.
All right, you reach down and you pull the
You
gun.
don't need to
He
mutilate the
coughs.
boy right away.
He coughs for several, like, maybe 10 seconds. Just a horrible fucking taste. Just trying to get it out. He's, like, spitting on the ground.
I
and
take my sock back.
then... Oh, it's your sock. Okay, yeah, it's definitely gross. You're an adventurer.
I don't think you want to wear that anymore, Renesmee.
I slip it back on.
Oh,
I'm not
God.
scared of spit.
You are disgusting.
You're gonna get it.
Well. Take it up with God.
All right. Yeah, the man collects himself and he says,
Swamp foot, Renesmee.
Oh my
is
God.
dangerous.
hello, I'm a doctor of medicine. I
Yep,
don't...
that's
Why
about
are you
right.
here?
We're
are
judges
you
investigating
here?
something.
Yeah,
We thought a
somebody's
necromancer was stealing the bodies to, do necromantic things.
I'm simply trying to expand my knowledge of anatomy. It's a bit unorthodox, but I didn't think it was scary enough to get judges involved.
Stealing bodies from a graveyard.
Yes?
This
Are you
close to the
stupid?
deadwood.
I have no
Why-
other way to
why
acquire
wouldn't you
corpses.
just-
All of them are burned nowadays.
Even in the
You're aware that
Hospital?
you cannot just ask the family members?
infirmaries.
You think I haven't? What do you think people feel when some grim man shows up to their door requesting their recently deceased loved one? Half of them probably think I'm a necromancer, even with my credentials.
How do you think they
what do you-
feel when their loved ones' bodies disappear from their graves?
Well, they're never supposed to know. They're just told they've been relocated deeper into the country. Clearly, he wasn't doing his job, and he gestures his head towards the grave tender. He holds his hands up like he's being placed under arrest.
He's not the most intelligent man.
It's not the brightest torch.
I won't lie. I know this is against, well, something, but I don't think... I didn't think it was scary enough to involve judges. I apologize for your being here.
Well, you said it yourself. If the people who these family members belong to think you're a necromancer, what does it look like to us? Seeing dead bodies disappear from them.
I don't know what to say.
Why do
you
you
wanna
want to
study
study dead bodies? Why do you want to study?
Taking bodies?
He looks at you
I
all.
agree.
I'm sorry?
Go for it, man.
Take us to your workplace, your home, wherever you're taking these bodies to dissect them. You think that we're going to let you go without you proving that you're only a professor?
I suppose we can go back to the symposium. It should be quiet.
All right then. Let's do
Well,
that.
I don't untie him, as in, like, I want to do, you know how, like, the prisoners have, like, their hands tied behind their
Okay.
back and,
Yeah.
like, stuff like that? Yeah, I want to, like, just untie his ankles, but keep those wrist straps real tight. And I'm gonna, like, double, triple, quadruple wrap that rope around my wrist and walk him like a fucking dog.
Okay. Yeah, you are very thorough.
Kinky.
No, not that. It is painful, not kinky in any way. His wrist is like red and fucking raw. This is not, very painful. No. But yeah, the man will try to keep pace with you, so he's not actually being tugged on, because that would rip his wrist to shreds. And as you guys are walking, he'll try to further explain himself and say, "I'm a simple doctor of anatomy. I have no idea how to study the cause of death in people if I can't have corpses before me to study it. It's nothing to do with necromancy or raising things from the dead, but saving the living."
Well, what about
Great-
everyone else
great
in your
point,
same
my lad.
position? In your same job? What do they do?
There is no one else in my position. How can a doctor of anatomy exist when there are no bodies to examine?
So you're the
Brings up an
only
excellent
person
point.
studying anatomy.
There used to be more before the Galentine War, but now everyone fears anything related to death. They simply
So
pretend
are
that...
you even able to practice?
Well, I was.
What does that mean?
He says, well, I got my corpses from here. I did my work in secret. My full-time job was to lecture to a bunch of snot-nosed brats, but I was able to pay for my real research.
Well, and how did you intend to use this info to help the Empire?
To help find the cause of death in people, to help uncover the causes of miasma and sickness. Try to figure out why some men die young and others persist into old age.
Did you know that we don't know why you die if you get stabbed in the gut? We have no clue why it happens. Mm-hmm.
It was
You get
largely
stabbed in the
related
gut,
to
3 days later
sickness
you die.
and other old ages.
Oh, well that's more
Punctures
disappointing.
organs, right?
Even the bodies of people who have died in horrible accidents can be deeply studied. Those who drink heavily
that's-
have livers
that's
that
more
are
what
a
I
deep
meant.
brown. It leads to great knowledge.
What's a liver?
An organ in your body.
Oh, what's it
You know
do?
what an organ is?
Yes, I know what an organ is.
Well, for a man
Alright,
like you,
I've
I suppose it'd be the thing that
probably
keeps you
seen
from
more than
dying
you.
of alcohol poisoning.
I don't drink that much.
Yes, of course, Judge.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys continue marching through the streets. Are you just going to march him like past the? Because you don't know how he got here, but your route to the city is right through very busy gates, even this late at night. So are you going to lead him straight through the busy gates, his hands tied to the symposium, or are you going to try to?
He has a cloak on, correct?
He had a cloak on, yeah.
Oh, so he doesn't have it on right now.
Well, it was torn off by Severus and you when you were tying him.
Well, can we put it back on him?
Yeah, certainly.
Okay, cool. So his cloak is on, and I'm going to just walk I'm going to walk almost like beside him. And the rope is only around his wrist, so I'm still holding on to the rope, but it almost looks like I'm ushering him with my hand behind his back.
Okay.
You know?
So he's like a VIP.
Yeah. You know, like
There it
ushering him or whatever. But like in reality, behind the cloak that is obscuring everyone else's vision, he is, getting walked.
I get it.
Yeah.
Okay. And do the rest of you go along with this, just forming like a defensive diamond around this VIP and making your way through the gates?
I want to fall back
Sure.
a bit and do two things. First, I want to check if anyone's following us.
Roll
And
perception
second,
check.
sure. Second, I want to talk to Zidnius.
Okay. Yeah. Roll perception for following first.
Yep.
5. No, you don't see anyone following you. And then you can move forward, joining Zednius at the rear of the column. Ahead of you is Renesmee, guiding this VIP, and ahead of her is Maximus and Lars.
Yeah,
Do I see him
I'll
looking?
lead the procession.
Yeah, you would definitely see. I don't think Severus is trying to hide it, so yeah, you can see him glancing over his shoulder.
Can I also glance around, just like out of paranoia now?
Yeah, sure. Roll perception check. Yeah, about 200 feet behind you, you see a figure go from one bush to the next. You are certainly being followed. From a ways back, though.
I stop abruptly, and I wave over Zednius and Lars. Or one of them. I would wave over Zednius, sure.
Yeah, I'll kind of lean
And
up
in
yes.
Zednius and I speak the same language, correct?
We speak
We
several
all-
the same
We all
languages.
speak Symbolin, so.
But there's one of us that can't speak Symbolin.
Literally
It's
everyone in
just
the party
my
except for
guess.
Maximus speaks Simple.
That's me.
Okay, yeah.
That's
in
me.
in Symbolin, I say someone is following us about 200 meters back, and I say this as quietly as I can, so that the dude that I'm escorting can't hear. I'm whispering this, cheek to cheek with them.
Well,
Yeah.
do we want to question our prisoner here to find out who he is, or do you want to just spook him off?
Let me use Hegel to find out if we know who this person is first.
I'll nod.
I'll wheel my horse around.
Wait, do I
What's
hear
going on back
that Zidnius just said that?
Yes, certainly. He just said it plainly, directly in front of you.
I'll just say to Zidnius in Frumachari, what's a Hetegal?
Now there's languages of secret languages. Jesus Christ, there's layers to this.
Oh, you
to this
said
fucking
Frumen's
This is the
conversation.
this is the language that only Zidnius and me speak.
Yeah, what the
Oh,
fuck?
okay.
I narrow my eyes at Severus. What did he say?
He's my friend. He didn't introduce himself to you?
Tell him to speak Symbolin.
And Maximus is left out of this whole conversation. Jesus Christ.
You speak
I don't
Symbolin.
think so.
I say in
Watch.
Symbolin.
I sent him to
Yeah,
watch.
I'll
the
answer to
gravesite with
her.
you.
I'll just answer to her. Yeah, I speak Sinvilin. What about it?
Why are you speaking another language?
I don't know if the prisoner speaks Sinvilin.
Oh, I look over at the prisoner.
I mean, he's staring at you guys completely confused. Same with Maximus.
Is he a human or half elf or
I mean, he looks mostly human, but...
whatever?
Okay, I look at the prisoner. I grab his fucking ear.
Jesus
I'm
Christ.
looking at his ear.
Yeah.
Jesus
One
Christ.
hand on the rope, other hand on the ear, and I whisper in his ear, "Do you speak Symbolin?"
He just looks at you in horror.
I respond to
Symbolin.
Severus that in Frumentari still, because I don't know if he speaks Symbolin. He's my friend. I told him to introduce himself to you. I sent him to watch the grave with you. Maybe he introduced himself then?
Introduced? Do you mean like something sitting on me?
You also heard his voice when he helped you.
He does that.
I thought I was losing it, honestly. I thought there was the ghost or some shit. Why didn't you tell me? Jesus. I almost tried to kill him.
Yeah, there's this
He's
jabbering of like
different,
foreign
though.
languages and whispers, and the prisoner is just looking
Either
at
way-
Maximus, the one person he's heard like speak normally in the recent while, and like confusion and horror and just like what the
I
fuck
don't
is
know,
happening?
man.
Tell
They
Hegel that
speak. They do this a lot.
Yeah,
I
that's
have no
true.
clue what's
behind
going on.
us, and see if he can figure out what this person is, and then catch back up.
Alex, I've been
because
facing back
he's
that way
quicker.
this whole time as
Yeah.
I wheeled around on my horse. Have I seen
Yeah.
anything in that time?
Roll perception check.
Ooh.
Look at that you're always on your horse.
Nope.
No.
I got
He's a
nine.
cavalier.
I'm that's like my character thing.
Yeah, you send Het Hagal back, and your sort of like little impromptu, what do you call these things? Like a huddle? Yeah. Your impromptu huddle falls apart, and you guys return back to your rough positions. And Zednius, you're
Act
looking
like
through Het
nothing
Hagal's
changed.
eyes. Yeah.
Yes.
And you feel an insane pain, like searing pain, like it shoots straight through your head. And it's not the feeling of you getting hit, it's the feeling of Het Hagal getting hit by something so hard he dies instantly.
Did I see it coming?
You were looking through his eyes, you saw a flash of something, and then instantly dead. And just this screech of pain, like horrible, fucking horrendous, ear-shredding pain, and no one else heard anything.
Are we good to go? What are we even doing here?
Yes.
Something got Hegel.
You guys glance back now, and you can see a single dagger protruding through the cobblestones about 150 feet away.
I'll say
fuck
in
is that?
common and turn around to Maximus and just say quietly, someone's following us.
They can see invisible
and-
things.
And I-
Yeah, he says it in common
This
to you.
wasn't important enough to share in common the first time.
Can I also ask the prisoner, do you know? Are you being
The
followed?
prisoner looks just as shocked as you guys and says, "No, I don't know anything about that."
Can I
He's
insight
very
check on him
powerful
to see if
Yeah.
he's lying?
Yeah, sure.
He's capping.
As best as you can tell, he seems terrified, but that doesn't mean much.
Sedge.
Guys, this person following us is powerful. If they can see Hegel and he's invisible, not anyone can do that.
I think he
Is it
knows that we
possible?
know he's there at this
We'd
point.
still have to be able to hit, of course, but to hit.
Sure, so
invisible
can we do
small
something
creature.
about it now then? Like go over there and talk to him? If he knows where-
As you guys are looking
we
at
know
this
he's
dagger
there.
in the middle of the road, you watch as it almost dissolves into mist and disappears.
That's nifty.
What do you
Alright,
do
then.
with the bodies once you're done studying them?
I dispose of them
I grab
inside
Maximus
of
and Lars
the
and say,
infirmatory.
Oh.
Incineration. I'm sorry. This is all a lot.
Yes,
I'm
of
gonna
course.
start clopping over towards where I saw the dagger.
No, Maximus. I grab you by the
Hmm.
shoulder or waist. Don't worry about it. It's nothing.
What? What do you mean it's
I-
nothing?
Just pretend it didn't happen.
It's a bit late for that.
It's nothing. Let's just keep going.
It's obviously something. If someone's following us, we should figure out what
But
it
it's
is.
not an
Do you
enemy.
know something?
It's
Do
not
you
an
know
enemy.
something?
It's not.
Well,
I know that dagger. It's not an enemy.
Let it out then.
How do you know?
You just don't trust me.
Well, I do, but if someone's following us, I'd like to know why.
The prisoner
How about
sort
we
of
just-
uncharacteristically
trust
speaks up and he
Deadness on
says,
that one.
"Can we please move on? I don't know what's happening. I just want to get inside the city."
Just shut up.
I'm in no position to fight. Let's just start
Uh-uh.
moving. I'm just gonna start walking.
Stepnius, are you sure?
Alright, have fun, Lars.
Stepnius?
100%.
Okay. Then we continue walking. Or I'll continue walking.
All right, and you have the prisoner with you, so Lars and
Alright,
Renesmee
then.
begin to lead ahead, and Severus and Zednius, you guys, I think you probably share a look of mutual understanding for at least a brief second, and then you continue on your way.
Yeah, I was gonna continue to question Sydney's informality. Just go. Did he know he's following us?
Do I know who is? Is that what you asked?
Did you know he is following us?
Did I know? I had no idea. I don't know why.
Didn't say anything to me either.
Maybe he's just observing how we work.
Should we really walk this prisoner into the city? Maybe it's best we dispose of him. But you are supposed to, make sure that the right person gets caught for the right thing,
Right. But let's find his home. It'd be easier to find the evidence we need there.
Well, I don't care about... Yeah, but... We didn't... Even if this guy was a necromancer, it wouldn't help us, right? We need to convince the right convict the right person.
Right. I'm not sure.
So-
I
Yeah?
am going to... No, I'm not. Never mind. We're just
Okay.
going to keep walking.
Yeah, you guys follow the column. Lars, chest puffed out, leads the way, and Esme shortly behind him. And you guys approach the gates. There's this brief moment where they raise their torches, and people are coming in late. It's the dead of night, and then see judges' badges, and all questions of whereabouts and why and who's this guy all just disappear. It's above their pay grade. And you can step through the gates of the city and head into Ravinium. Familiar sights for those of you that are from the city, and for those of you that aren't. It's all a bit strange because it's late at night. Heading through the dark streets, the prisoner will, having learned his lesson from trying to speak up during that argument, he'll just be quiet now, but he'll mutedly give directions to the symposium, which Renesmee, very quickly you can just cut him off because you know how to get there. And you guys will be guided to the symposium grounds. It's a complex of about 13 buildings. The so-called College of Ravinium, one of the most famous ones in the Empire, and he will lead you towards a small back door of one of the smallest buildings on the campus. He'll go up to the door and sort of try to move his hands a bit from behind his back, but realizing he has no movement, he'll just look at you, Renesmee, and say, "Well, the keys are in my pocket."
I'll reach into his pocket for him.
Yeah, you find a ring of keys and a coin purse.
Which one?
It's the silvery-looking one.
I take it and I, put it in the keyhole.
The lock clicks. It's a simple latch and it lifts up.
Did I go to this college since I studied a little bit of law?
You went to the symposium. This particular building you've never been to.
Got it, but I'm familiar kind of with the campus you could
Most
call it,
certainly.
but not this building. Got
You
it.
think this was a medical building, or it was maybe botany? It was something weird that you never would have been interested in.
Got it. Well, I open the door.
Yeah, you open up the door, and all of you guys can look into the space. It's dark. There's no lanterns or anything. And within this dark space, he says, "There's need to speak. Can I step inside and say the word? Make it light up."
Yes.
Go for
But
it.
I step
His head
inside
in.
with him.
Yeah, you guys both step into the lintel, past the lintel and into the room, and he speaks a word in Elvish, and not Sylvan, but actual Elvish, and the entire room lights with several light stones placed throughout the extent. It is a small laboratory, nothing too fancy, no great machines for extracting something complex, but there are several sort of iron trays with stone slabs underneath them, and bodies in various states of dissection. If it weren't also orderly, it almost looked like something out of a mad scientist laboratory, but everything here is noted. On this tray, there is exactly one scalpel and one forceps. On this tray, there is a single vial of some human bodily fluid. There's journals on practically every surface, everywhere, recording things, ink pens left discarded. It certainly looks like the workplace of a madman, but not of a necromantic one, but of a scientific one.
If I untie you, will you be good? Will you behave yourself?
Absolutely, Lady Judge.
Just know, if you try to run or do anything stupid, I will tie you and I will put that sock right back in your mouth.
Fuck no!
Nods
I don't think he's gonna
thoroughly.
run, Renesmee.
Okay.
Be all right.
I untie him.
Yeah, he sort of stretches his wrist and looks at it. You see him looking at his hands. There's just the red, raw, torn skin around it. He says, "But God, well, here it is."
I start, poking around.
To me.
Can I do a perception check or an investigation check? I'm kind of looking for anything that has his name tied to it. I just want to make sure that this is his
Yeah, sure.
thing.
Roll an investigation check.
Okay.
Sounds good, Severus. While she's doing that, Lars and Maximus. Obviously, Maximus, you're on horseback, so.
Oh, I've gotten off my horse, gone in.
Okay.
I want to ask Zenius in simple and saying, well, even if this guy is who he says he
So,
is he's still
actually,
useful
sorry to
for us
interrupt,
to.
but as you go to look for Zenius, he was at the back of the column, and as you turn to go look for him, he's not there.
Oh.
In fact, you look in the room.
Once-
He's not there. You do a full scan.
Once I see it's just normal scientific stuff, I'll head back out and start patting Maxim or Mickey.
Yeah, as you head back out, you see Lars like looking around. Maybe not confused, but certainly like doing a full sweep of the area.
Hakon, can I get a quick ruling on something?
Yeah, sure.
So message says that I can cast the spell even if I don't see the target if I know it's in there.
Yeah, you have to know
include solid
exactly where it
objects.
is.
Okay, I have to know exactly where it is. I don't have to just like believe that they're there.
Nah, you got to point your finger at exactly where they are in actuality.
Okay. So I can't just be like, okay, I know he's somewhere in that building.
Within 100 feet, yeah. No, that doesn't.
Okay.
Yeah, and Lars, as you're looking around, you just see Zednius emerge from one of the alleyways. Zednius, what is your expression? My guess is crestfallen, but correct me if that's wrong.
If I'm returning, I just look a little relieved.
Relieved? Oh, okay, I was super wrong. So yeah, you see Zednius emerge from a nearby nondescript alleyway. Looking at...
Yeah, I think after I didn't see him inside, I would have been waiting outside with Core. Whenever he walks up, I'll just say, I won't ask where you went, but what are we going to do with this guy?
Adjusting my belt. And then what are we going to do with, well, what's inside? And I push through.
Well, yeah, you
inside.
poke your head in and you can see the laboratory.
Have you learned anything from your studies recently? Anything shocking, new, brave?
Well, actually, I think I have. And he begins to pull out one of his journals and says, you see this here? And he points towards a very, like, complex, spread-out diagram of organs from all inside the body. And he points towards a tiny little one, almost shaped a little bit like a pea. And he says, I've labeled this the leucoleus. I've heard it called, the pancreas out in Tabrash, but it's a fool's name. It should be named after a true scientist. This is shrinking in people. The younger people that I look at, the smaller their pancreas is. Fascinating.
The younger the people, the smaller it is.
So you think it's shrinking? Shouldn't it be the opposite way?
Proportion of body mass. It's a complex statistical formula.
Well, when you say the younger, doesn't it make sense that wouldn't that obviously imply that, you know, the older they are, the
bigger
it grows?
It is. Well, isn't everything smaller when we're children?
As I said, percentage of body mass.
Of course.
He just waves it off, and you can look through his notes for Nesme, and sure enough, he is very aggressive in signing almost everything. Like, there will be random journals that say, dissected 5 bodies today, found little of note, and then it's just signed at the bottom in the most fancy script possible. He seems very intent on making sure he gets credit for this vast body of research.
The most important question.
Got it.
Is P storing the balls?
Unfortunately, he has not unlocked that technology level yet.
Unfortunately.
And, sir, you incinerate the bodies once you're done dissecting them.
It's what everyone else will do with them if I don't.
No, I think that it is smart. I was worried that you were disposing them in some other way and that the person that was following us might be reaping.
As I said before, I have no idea about anyone else. As far as I'm concerned, my operation is me, my research assistant, and the grave tender.
Who is your research
assistant? How much
assistant?
do you pay for these?
He looks at Boldy and says, my research assistant is a woman. She is just a student on campus. I trust her with my life. And payment varies based off the freshness and the cause of death.
What is her name?
She doesn't have anything to do with this.
It doesn't matter. It's just for notes. She's not going to get in trouble.
All right, then. Gloria Lucilia Lucullus.
Put in chat.
Lucullus? That's in your name, is it not?
Perhaps a distant relation, but not directly.
Ah. What does she do for you?
Well, I don't tell her where I get the bodies from, but sometimes when I need help in taking apart a body, larger people, and especially the elderly, because their bodies are so fragile, she'll assist me in the autopsy.
I see.
I hope you're satisfied that there's nothing insidious going on here.
How often does she visit?
Whenever I need it, so maybe it's every month or so. Not frequent that I need assistance in my autopsy. Grown rather proficient, I like to think.
Did the guy that gave us this job tell all of us that we just need to get this pinned on someone regardless, or?
No. In fact, the senator, that you guys spoke with just said he thinks there's necromancy involved, and if so, it's, this horrible thing. But more importantly, you were given 2 tasks: find the necromancer, and also how the governor relates to all of this, which the senator seemed very convinced of.
I was referring to the other guy. Did he only tell...
Oh, totally, yes, yeah, he
Zed
only
and
told
Cicero?
those 2 in Fermentari. That was just their
Oh,
task.
okay. That in mind.
I remember this senator dude telling us this, and I asked the professor, just out of curiosity, what is your relationship with the governor?
Well, I suppose he's my boss, if you go enough chains up the command line.
Has he ever been involved in any of this process?
Oh, you're serious? No, of course not. As I said, just me, my research assistant. If my department had knew about this, well, he'd probably react the same way you did.
Yes, of course. I nod my head and I look at everyone else like, fuck.
Yeah, he
He's
just
really
looks
not
around.
related.
Yeah, and Severus, your detect magic
good.
finishes, and you find what you expect. A little bit of illusion magic from the stones, a little bit of abjuration magic from the door that you guys opened. Nothing else. Oh, and also evocation on his signet ring.
Evocation
What was that
signet ring.
word?
The word he spoke in Elvish. Do you speak Elvish?
Yes. No, but I asked him, what was that word that you spoke in Elvish?
Oh, it just means light.
You speak Elvish?
He looks at you and says, "Yeah, yes.
Don't
I took some Elven
don't
studies."
start with that.
Can I ask him to repeat the word? I want to note it.
Is this related to the investigation?
Yes.
Yes, it is.
He looks at the 3 of you now. There's three
He rolls
three
an
judges
insight
staring at
check.
you aggressively, and he just sort of narrows his eyes and says, all right then, Galad, meaning light, but of the illuminating variety, not of moral character. That's a different word.
Where did you learn to speak Elvish?
Here, the
Do you have
symposium.
any books on Elvish?
Nothing for a beginner.
Well,
No dictionaries?
No, certainly
do you
not.
have any intermediate Elvish books?
I would not say so, no. The only things I have are ancient elven medical treatises.
Well, then how did you learn to speak Elvish?
I'm a man who's taught me the spoken version. If you'd like, I'm sure that you could go speak to the professor of Elven Studies here. I believe they have one at the
Who taught
symposium.
you?
Renesmee, hold on, I wanted to hear about this.
Professor Galahad. He's a Galadrim refugee, I believe. Apparently his father taught it to him, and I don't know, all the way down the line.
I've been trying to get in touch with my Elvish roots lately.
Well, Lady Judge, I wish you the best of luck in that. Is there anything else, if possible, if you wouldn't mind? I know it's illegal. I would like to return to the gravesite, if you'll allow me to. I believe we've worked out that there's no harm being caused here. If anything, I'm advancing the cause of the Empire.
One last thing. Your
You bring
ring.
up a good point.
What does
Yes.
your ring do?
Well, it identifies me as a member of Clan Fabricia.
And?
That's it.
And, well, under very extenuating circumstances, it could be considered a sort of off-switch.
Of?
My life and
It's
anyone
like
within
suicide
30
though.
feet of me.
Oh my god.
It was granted
How
to
was
me
it
by
activated?
a word, which I will not be saying, thank you very much.
Yes, of course.
Is it an Elvish?
Take the ring off, please.
Thank God.
I'm not going to surrender my clan ring. You've lost your mind if you think I'll do that, not even to a judge. I know better than that.
Where did you
You really
acquire
think
this
we're
ring?
gonna stand next to you while you have a suicide bomb ring?
Renesmee.
I got it from the
Activate at any
proconsul
word
of-
notice.
Take his ring?
I got it from the proconsul of the Department of
Leave him be,
Magic.
good lord.
He gets suicide bombers at any point.
Yeah,
And he
If he
hasn't.
wanted to, he would have done
it.
so already.
Yeah, he could have done it, back in the graveyard. Well,
Or
I
before
don't
he
believe
just told us
you
what
would
he
use
did.
it on us.
We're all on
I-
the same side here. I love the Empire, same as the rest of
Lord.
you.
Oh no, absolutely, sir. I am more interested in where I can acquire one myself.
Speak to the proconsul of the Department of Magic. I don't know. I was just granted it.
Do not use that tone with us, sir.
I feel as if you're all at each other's throats, as if you're about to kill one another. I just want to get my night moved on and try to proceed on my research.
We surely are not. Who is the closest party member to me?
Probably Severus.
Can I, grab Severus' shoulder and bring him closer? Look, we're all friends here.
Severus, you're gonna let her
Everything
do
is
that?
fine.
I'll give like the most awkward, just like uncomfortable fake
He's
grin
dead.
ever.
Pull the knife
Yeah.
on me when I
Yeah, I mean, he'll just slowly nod and say,
Great success.
well, lady, judge, and most esteemed lord judges, is there anything else that I can assist you with?
No. Let's go.
Alright.
I'm
Well,
hungry.
I would like to speak to my fellow judges for a moment.
Of course.
Can I get into
Can I
a
ask them
huddle
one
with
question
them?
real quick? I just want to ask them one question. Do you keep any records of how you dispose of the bodies?
Of course I do. I keep
When?
exhaustive records of all my research.
Alright.
Okay, well, while Severus does that, because Severus isn't a part of like the OG group that I'm comfortable with
True.
yet,
Uh-oh.
I am going to speak to the other judges and say, here's the issue. That graveyard attendee, he knows that we found the person that was digging up bodies, and he is a terrible liar. If he is ever questioned as to what we did as judges about the person who was digging up bodies, he's going to know that we did nothing. He's going to be able to point the finger at us and say that we were, I don't know, in the worst of eyes, complicit with necromancy, or at least something terribly and deeply illegal.
Well,
Well, we're allowed to do that.
what?
Well, no.
What is the?
Not exactly. There are limits to judges.
What crime does this constitute?
This is just grave theft, like textbook.
Oh, and
that-
what's the crime for that?
Well, I don't know. It kind of varies. Legally, like, the actual punishment is equivalent to theft of, like, a normal object, so sometimes hand removal. But out here in the countryside, especially in Regia Nova and Transatlia, like, people have gotten death penalty for much, like, less infractions, because people are so paranoid about the Deadwood, even though, obviously, in this circumstance, I think with beyond all reasonable doubt, it's pretty obvious he's not a necromancer.
I mean, if we judge this on our own, then it'll be simple thievery. But if we ends up going to someone else, he could be executed for suspicion of necromancy stuff.
I say we just tell him to be more careful. And to advise him to stop. That gives us some plausible deniability.
But what if he continues and then there is
Well,
a
obviously
town
he's
notice?
going to continue. Obviously
Yes,
he's going
well-
to continue.
The issue is that if the people in the town, and especially other judges or authority figures, start to notice that there are bodies disappearing, if this continues, they might go and question the groundskeeper of the graves, and then
man's a
he is a
dimwit.
terrible liar. Exactly, that is the problem, that he can
I don't think he's
identify
going to
all of
remember
us.
this in a week.
Okay.
What do you mean, Maximus?
He was pretty stupid. He was.
Yes, but he's a
I think he
terrible
might be about
liar.
this.
I don't think that he has memory issues. I think that he has
Mm.
intelligence issues.
I don't know. I'll look in at the guy in the room. How long have you been doing this for?
About 4 years.
Oh,
I think we'll be
Jesus.
good. I think.
Can
we'll
I
be all right.
ask, why now?
Why now?
Well, yes, I've
No,
been...
no, you cannot.
Of course, Lord Judge.
Right then. That's that problem solved.
Alright, sir, here is our issue. Are you ready to hear it?
Are you talking to the guy?
Yes.
Yeah, the professor will, straighten his posture and say, yes, of course.
I have no issue, I have no desire to sentence you to death or to throw you in prison for doing scientific work. I don't believe that any of my fellow judges would like to do that either. However,
Absolutely not.
Gravekeeper, not the brightest light bulb, are there light bulbs? No, not the brightest candle.
There it is.
All right. He's a terrible, terrible, terrible liar, and he is able to identify every single one of us judges theoretically. Now, if you continue to take the dead people out of the graves, and people start to notice again, as people have already noticed, if this continues, and that is noticed, and then that groundskeeper is interrogated, there is no way on God's green earth that we will not be implicated.
Well, couldn't we punish him now and write a signature that
which says that
He
we
sort of
punish them.
raises his hand and says, well, perhaps to avoid any unnecessary punishment, you tell me how you found out about all this. I could plug that gap. If it's the groundkeeper speaking out about it, I could just increase his pay. The man is a slave to coin.
Maybe we could.
That doesn't change anything. He's a terrible liar. No amount of coin will make him a better liar.
Well, if he's
Wait.
paid enough, no one should even hear of this. I don't even know how this got out in the first place.
Well, clearly it got out.
Wait,
But how?
and
I'll whisper to Zednius. How did it get out? I wasn't here when we were given this whole thing.
I want to step up to Renesmee and just.
I think it was the senator.
Yeah, but how?
He just knew that there were missing bodies. I'm not sure.
Severus stepped up to me.
Yeah, I'll ask you like quietly, like. I'm not very familiar with this judge business. You have quite an amount of authority, right?
Yes.
Couldn't you just give this man a license to continue his studies legally?
Oh.
Or maybe make an
theoretically,
arrangement
perhaps.
with local garrison or something?
I don't think that it would be possible at all. I think that people would be shocked and appalled, and that we would be disfavored by practically every department within this city, this land. So I think that either we will have to beat you, or you will have to beat
What
yourself.
if we...
What? How did beating come into this? My lady.
Like what?
You must look like
I
we
don't
have
know about
attacked you and made you truly suffer for
What?
your
Well, what if I just stop?
injustices.
I could,
How much money do you have?
I'm sorry?
How much? Are you wealthy? Are you poor?
I get a professor's
what
payment, a salary,
How much is that?
50 gold a year.
All right. Why don't we fine you? 25 gold. But tell you not to do it again.
I don't have 25 gold.
Why don't we sentence
Oh.
you
How much gold do
to-
you have?
Looks into a coin purse. 7 silver. I pay the groundskeeper in copper.
Money.
That's a
Yes,
good
don't
point.
take the man's money. I don't think
but
that is
beating
necessary.
him is okay.
Absolutely, the man should be able to eat, but walk.
Judges, I could just stop.
But would you really?
Perfect.
Yes.
that.
He's not very.
You gotta be more convincing than that.
I would stop. I would stop, but I just don't want to be beaten. I need this face and these hands. How would I explain it to my colleagues?
Cassius.
I don't want to necessarily have to beat you, but if you could beat yourself and
Well,
then
he
make it
said
look
he's-
as if we beat you, like you
he
can
said he's
choose
going to
where to
stop.
beat you.
I'll
Well, I
see.
don't believe
He's a
him.
good, he's a good, trustworthy citizen of the Empire.
But respectfully look around. This is the man's life. He is so passionate about this, and I
Lady
don't
Judge,
blame him.
I'd be
In
more than
fact,
happy to stop. No need to speak on my behalf. I'd be, if it would avoid any punishment or burden on your part, I'd be more than happy to step back.
Well, but I think that you have a
He
right
looks
to
towards and
conduct
says,
these
Judge,
scientific studies.
you have a solution.
You have so little conviction that you would stop your whole life's purpose just because of a little beating?
Yes.
Maybe you deserve that beating anyways.
Oh my God!
Oh, you know
Why are
that.
we still
Mindless
here?
loser.
Yeah, I don't
Why
know.
are
Lars
we
is
still
without
here?
some kind of gore.
Everyone,
Yeah,
why are we still here?
The man points towards Zenny and says, Lord Judge, you said you had a solution.
You want to help the Empire, right? And you have the skills to do so?
Yes?
And you want access to bodies and humans.
Yes.
I see where this is going.
As the crime
Oh.
of grave digging is either thievery, losing your hand, or death of necromancy, I think the better solution of those two alternatives would be to have you go to Fort Trajan and enlist in the military. There's plenty of dead men, there's plenty of men that need help. I think that it would make the most sense for you to just get out of town.
You could do so much studying there.
I think before he was scared, now he is, full on horrified. This academic seems like just fucking borderline melting down at the recommendation you go join the military. And he just says, I will stop. I'll destroy my laboratory. I'll burn every note. I'll go tell the grave tender we never met. I'll give him half my year's salary to never say he saw my face.
Sir,
Why?
Did you want to help the Empire?
Okay.
Not like that! I like my office.
Well, if he promises to stop, then I don't see why we need to send him to the military. Would you rather beat yourself than go to the military?
You don't need to be beaten. I just want to stop. I'll leave this all behind.
Wait,
if I had to give you one or the other.
To beat anyone.
I'm not saying that anyone is going to beat anyone except him beating himself. You know, he could grab a hammer, crush his own hand or something.
That is someone beating someone.
He reflexively pulls his hand away.
That is himself beating himself. Have you never heard of those rumors of people who cause their own injuries and then say that their spouse had done it and such? He could do this to himself. He could choose. What? I don't know. He could take some milk of the poppy and he could simply smash his head on something and he could say that we hurt him. This does not make sense to any of you. Like that, he could continue his passion and his work.
Let's go. Come along.
The man seems horrified. You guys have actually probably scarred this guy. He's fucking terrified of you.
I think that's punishment enough for this point.
Let's go.
The military recommendation has scared him so much.
Makes the most sense.
Yeah, it worked, Yogi. Actually, I mean, you scared the fear of God into him.
I have one more idea.
What is your idea?
Is that
no more ideas. All of your ideas are terrible.
Yes. My idea doesn't involve him getting physically hurt whatsoever, or mentally, for that matter. And I'll say it from
sounds like you're about to say the worst thing yet.
I'm just ignoring Maximus. So Zednius, and I'll say it from Atari. Do you think maybe we could just hook him up with a Frumentari contact, and he can do all the study for them?
I look at him and I say no.
Why do they do that?
He said no.
I think his computer just crashed.
Yeah.
That's funny. That was funny timing.
That was good timing, yeah.
He said no.
That's good. All right. So, yeah, I mean, this man is horrified. Do you guys exit the laboratory?
Guess we're just gonna have to beat him up, I guess.
Okay. Well, as you close the door, you can see him beginning the process of destroying his life's work.
Oh, no, I wouldn't like to leave yet.
Okay.
Sir, I think that your scientific work is absolutely honorable. I believe that you should continue without procuring bodies from stolen graves, yes. I don't think you should have to destroy all of your life's work.
He's
if
like
you were even
placing his stuff
that.
into a bin, and he says, "Thank you for your kind words, Lady Judge. I think I'll tidy up here."
Yes, well, have a nice day. Galad!
And all the lights in the room go out.
Woo! It worked! Thank you, sir, Galad!
And it turns back on.
Thank you, sir.
Slowly nods. And you exit his laboratory. And he begins to hurriedly destroy his work.
I'll leave behind her.
You guys head out to see large petting gores.
Are you all happy? Did you enjoy
That's
that?
the first thing I hear when you guys come back.
True.
You have a good time with that? Does it make you all feel good inside?
Lars will just interrupt to say, "So, are we done here?"
fucking.
He has no idea what happened.
This from Lars' perspective is so funny. Oh my god. That's
you
good.
all are adding years to my life.
Adding?
Off years.
God, wouldn't
There
want
we
to
go.
do that.
Taking
You must
off
have
years.
very
Yeah, I
sweet
really
after,
wouldn't.
Well, wow, incredible.
Well.
So, where to now?
Is that it? What else do we have to do? I thought, weren't we just investigating why the bodies were missing?
Yes, well, as we start to kind of walk away, I say, well, Senator did say that we had to implicate the governor in this
He didn't
somehow.
say that.
No, he didn't. I even clarified that.
Yeah,
You
all
never
the-
said
so,
that to you.
yeah, so,
Separate.
yeah, to clarify, what you guys heard was the governor wanted to discover how, so first of all, I assumed it was a necromancer, and if it was a necromancer, he wanted to think that the governor was connected. The framing of the governor is a mission only given to Severus and Zednius.
Okay, then I don't say that, because I
that's
don't know
fine.
that.
100%, I
Alright.
understand.
Alright, so,
Yeah.
we figured out it wasn't necromancy. And we go.
Amazing.
What did we find out about the Gloria person?
That was his assistant. She helped him occasionally
student.
with particularly difficult
Student on
autopsies.
campus.
She didn't
So-
dispose of the bodies.
No, only he.
We don't know how he
No.
disposed of the bodies.
He burned them.
He said he
He burned them in an
So-
incinerator.
And he kept all of his notes, which he just destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. All right.
Ah,
So
yes,
are we?
I do speak Portuguese.
Yeah. Are we making our
Alright.
way back to the senator's estate, or is there some final, I's we want to dot, or considering this investigation concluded?
Are we good? Everyone?
I,
No one
thi-
has
I
anything?
think I think you should
Sorry,
have
what
one little
happened?
talk with Zednius.
Lars has 0 input, so.
Okay. Severus and I go off.
All right. And while they go off, is there any, Renesmee, is there anything you would like to conclude in this investigation, or are you satisfied to return to the senator?
I'm pretty satisfied, I think, yes.
All
Yes,
right.
yes.
So, as you guys all, Maximus gets on horseback, the rest of you guys begin to march. You're making your way roughly back towards the hilly senatorial district where all the fine homes are located. Zednius and Severus fall back, as they have frequently throughout this little investigation, whispering in strange tongues.
So I think this should be pretty simple to implicate the governor, right? We go back, we forge a bunch of documents about how he was studying necromancy and how he was being financed by the governor, and then we kill him so he can't say anything otherwise. It's pretty simple,
Would
right?
that really implicate? It would. I think it would have to be several documents. It would have to be 1, evidence of necromancy, and then 2, evidence of payment from the governor to him.
Yeah, we can do that, right? We
Okay,
can just
but it
forge
wouldn't
that.
be so simple as the governor ordering him to do things.
No, we'd have to forge some documents as to how that he'd been paid. We'd have to forge some documents that he'd been
Studying necromancy.
studying necromancy, and then maybe
I
we
still
could
have his
even
tome.
with his signature ring. Maybe we could even forge a letter with his own signet on it to the government about his progress that we, intercepted. And then if they ask any more questions about who was delivering the money, maybe we may visit the Gloria person and implicate her in the whole thing as well.
Sounds like a grand plan. I think we should sleep on it and maybe discuss with Tullius of the things we found.
Yeah, I need to know what the hell Tullius was doing. Why was he tailing us like that?
I went to look for him, but I couldn't find him. He was hiding even from me.
Really? And we vanished back in the alley. But what happened then?
I didn't find him.
Okay.
Well, you guys approach the old senatorial manor. At this time of night, almost everything up in this neighborhood in particular is dead. All that's really left is the dock district, which is bustling with activity, and parts of University Street are just filled with throngs of students trying to get in some, quote-unquote late-night studying, but realistically just partying. But the senatorial district is silent. And as you guys walk and hear the clop of Maximus's horse along the cobble, you can see that the old Senator Viria's house still has one light on out front. On the front porch, you can see not the master servant, but one of the other people you saw working on the property is just asleep on the front porch. Most likely sent out to wait for you guys, but very much asleep at this point.
I'm there, correct?
Yes, everyone is.
Can I speak
Where are
up
we?
to the person said
Sit
to wait
on
for
in.
us?
Sure. She's dead asleep. She's like snoring real fucking loud.
Yeah, I go up to her ear, real close, and I go,
She just jolts backwards. This like 40-year-old woman half has a heart attack, and then she sort of stands
Yeah,
upright.
roll for heart attack actually. On a D100,
She's not
on a
that
100
old.
on a D100, she fucking died.
Not that old. But yeah, this old woman sort of stands upright and says, "Oh, good heavens, Lord and Lady Judge, judges, I must have had a bad dream. Welcome back to the estate. The senator told me that he'd be staying up late to meet with you. I must have drifted off.
Don't worry about it. Just
Of course, the senator's probably asleep. I'll go make sure he's awake, and if so, I'll bring you back to him.
can we get some food?
I'll wake up one of the commissary staff.
How kind.
She sort of bobbles into the house and brings you guys into the lounge, where you remain for probably 30, 40 seconds. And she comes back in and says, yes, the senator and Master Cicero are out on the back porch. I'll fetch you some refreshments. Is there any special requests any of you have? We can make snacks as well.
Oatmeal, please.
All right. And
No alcohol for me, just water.
He nods and dawdles away.
Right then, off we go.
Yeah, you guys head to the back porch and you find the aged Senator Viria leaning back in his chair. He looks half asleep, probably was just woken up, but he still has a 3/4 of the way empty wine glass beside him and two empty bottles on the next to the partially empty wine glass. Tullius is totally alert, sitting in the chair. Sorry, Master Cicero. I don't want to get confusing. Master Cicero is totally alert, sitting in the chair next to the senator. They seem to have been engaged in some small talk, and as you guys enter, Cicero shoots you all a beaming smile, and the senator sort of looks you all up and down. Well, have you uncovered the governor's perfidious involvement in this necromortis connection?
Well, it wasn't necromancy. So...
Yes, there was no such connection.
No.
Then why was he taking bodies?
He was actually some sort of anatomy professor. He was conducting scientific studies, of which he had very, very, very many extensive documents and records of, with his name all over them. We even got to see the dissected bodies.
Was the governor funding him, perhaps?
Nope.
No.
Well, the government was indirectly. He's a professor, so he was indirectly funding him.
Are you guys there?
Yeah, everyone is.
By virtue of being the governor.
I turn to Severus. Well, obviously, but the governor knew nothing about this.
The senator waves his hand and says, Fine. I have several other avenues of approach to find the governor's complicity in treason against the empire. Perhaps the necromortis angle didn't quite play out.
You know that he is involved in this.
I have a suspicion. I know he's complicit of something. I simply need to chase down all the leads available before me to find which one.
I see.
Right then, do you need us for anything else?
It's late. Perhaps not tonight. But I do have further things to do. Would you rather hear it when you're awake tomorrow morning or now?
Yeah, I'm off to bed. I'll see you in the morning.
He watches as Lars walks away and sort of harumphs to himself and mumbles something about youngsters under his breath.
How much longer are we going to be here?
The senator goes to drink another glass of wine, and the Master Cicero sort of pipes up and says, Probably the better part of a week or two.
Have we discussed compensation?
Or two.
Your compensation is that this is in your duty as members of the judges. I think you'll find that your time here is more than well spent.
All right, then.
Plus, it's a chance for you to see your home city again. Is that not compensation enough?
No.
I can understand. Not everyone loves their home city. But, of course, this is your duty as judges. Sure, you have no problem executing that.
In the truth, this is our duty as judges.
I assure you that this well falls within your purview.
All right, just...
Well...
We'd rather it not be longer than that.
Trust me, the Southern Legions are indisposed at the moment. They have no further tasks for you.
I'm sure that they could find quite a few tasks for us. We always seem to be in very high demand, unfortunately.
Master Cicero shrugs. Perhaps. You should get some good rest, though. The senator has many more tasks ahead for you. Sure. Grumbles. Begins to drift off.
They go sleep.
All right, then.
All right. So, Lars is already gone. Maximus heads to bed. Redesme, you find a servant to be guided up towards your bedchamber. Severus and Zenius, do you do the same?
I think
approach
so.
Cicero.
Sure.
Oh, if you approach Cicero, I also.
Yeah, the two of you guys approach him. He speaks to the governor. They're just talking about the local weather, but when he sees the two of you stick around, he looks over towards you. Yes, judges.
May we speak with you alone for a moment?
He stares at you for a few moments. Says, well, Governor, or Senator, you have to excuse me for just a brief moment. Stands up and exits the back porch and heads into the room with just the two of you. He looks at you both like a disapproving father and says in Tari, what?
Why were you following us?
It's not like you to start asking questions about my proceedings, said Nias. You were given a task, you executed it well. It's that simple.
But you attacked Hegal.
Hegal was going where he shouldn't have.
I see. So it's going as planned so far? We haven't missed our opportunity?
No. You're doing fine. Continue along your path, and this will all be resumed soon enough. The estimate I gave to your companions was rather generous. You could wrap this up in a couple days, all considered.
We could, produce some evidence that all of this was linked with the necromancy after all.
Keep in mind, try to develop a stratagem. If you think you can get him rock solid, of course, but keep in mind he is a governor of the Empire. Simple hearsay and accusation will not suffice.
Or maybe a little forged evidence.
Anyone can forge evidence, my boy. That's not special enough. To take down a governor will take something more damning than that. I'm sure you'll figure it out.
I might have something.
Well,
but
don't need to tell me about it. I'm sure the two of you can figure this out yourselves. You are, after all, trade agents of the Empire.
Mm-hmm.
Well, best of luck then.
Should we expect you to be following us again?
You should do your duty as if you were doing it. My affairs will be my own. All in service of the Empire.
Just making sure that I don't accidentally shoot someone who's following us and kill them.
You cannot accidentally shoot me if you... I wouldn't worry about it.
Very good.
Pats you on the shoulder, gives you a slight hug, Zednius, and says, just don't ask questions. Do your duty for the Empire, same as you always have.
Okay.
Good
night, Father.
He pats you both. He gives you... I think he gives you both just, a respected nod and heads back to the back porch.
And then I go to the room that I'm supposed to be in.
Do you resummon Hetegal that evening? Can you resummon Hetegal that evening?
If I'm able to. I don't think I have the materials.
What do you need material-wise?
A brazier?
A brazier? Like a stone... no, that's a iron pot for flame.
Yeah, brass.
There's probably some around the property. Jesus. Yeah, there's certainly a brazier around the property.
Brazier.
Then I will go do
brass.
that. And I'll
yeah, you can go out to the back garden.
Oh, wait, don't you also need stuff worth like 10 gold or some shit?
Yeah, but can I just use 10 gold or should I have to go buy
you
those?
can use 10 gold.
Okay.
You can?
Yeah. For this particular one, most certainly. Yeah, you head to the back of the property very late at night, after everyone's long since gone to bed, even the alcoholic senator. And out here in the back, to keep people warm during parties and things like that, is a large brass cauldron, a brazier. And you can ignite the flame after searching to make sure no servants are still awake and snooping. And placing the gold into the fire, it begins to swirl, molten. Then a black dot appears in the center of the fire. And just as all this ritual is built up over 10 minutes, it all gets sucked into that single black dot. And then the brazier is empty. But you hear a familiar voice. Pain.
Sorry, Hetegal, I didn't know he was going to do that.
He angrily seats himself.
And then turn to bed.
You guys can get some rest. And it's an uninterrupted short rest, so I don't think you really have any dice. But if you do, then feel free to expend them.
My spell back.
Indeed, you do get your spell back.
Does my level of exhaustion go away?
Yes, it does.
Yes, on short rests.
Based.
And with no further interruptions to your sleep, you can awake the following morning. You are given the full lavish treatment of having stayed at a wealthy senator's place. You're given an intense breakfast, oatmeal, as much as you desire. In fact, since you requested it the night before, the servant would have fetched you some primo oatmeal down from the dockyard, foreign oats, and a special type of milk for making it extra creamy.
Can I eat, like, an absurd amount?
You can eat as much as you like. They'll never cut you off.
Yeah, like, I will eat until I'm
They even have cinnamon,
so
which is a
full.
very rare luxury.
Ooh, I will cinnamon it up.
So you guys have a bountiful breakfast, as much as you're willing to eat. And then whenever you begin to, flag and fail and can't eat more dishes, the woman attending to your breakfast will inform you. Well, whenever you're all ready, the senator's out on the back porch with Master Cicero. He's told you to enjoy your breakfast, but when you're ready.
Eat for an hour and
With
40
my
minutes.
cheeks
I
full
only
of oatmeal, I just nod.
All right. So you guys eat your fill. And do you all wait as a group to head to the back porch, or do you just head as you finish? Or?
If we head as we finish, I'll be gone in like 10 minutes.
Okay.
Less than that.
Eating very quickly.
I don't eat very much.
All right. So
What food do they make for Gore?
they'll get him steak. They'll get him whatever you request him to be given.
Okay.
Yeah, and
Can I
your horses will
pocket-
be given the
sorry.
finest feed and apples and carrots and sugar cubes.
Can I pocket
Excellent.
some fruits and vegetables and stuff?
Yes, you may.
Just for the horses and stuff later,
Sure, they'll be lavish just like you
Sugar
guys are.
cubes. I
Yeah.
know, but I want them to know it's coming from me.
Okay.
I'll
So-
add to my sheet.
Sure. You guys make your way to the back porch after finishing your meal. The senators there already beginning to tap into the wine, about a quarter of a bottle in, and the Master Cicero sitting there, as always, alert, ready. He gives you all a beaming smile as you head out onto the back porch, and the old senator sort of circles a wine glass beneath his nose, attempting to almost build anticipation. 2 senators, servants of the Empire like yourselves, have died. They died within hours of each other. Last night, well, yesterday, to the northeast of the city. This isn't the first example either. My colleagues would say the high rate of senators dying out in the countryside is simply a coincidence of living in a dangerous province, but the governor has tipped his hand this time. With 2 men killed in such a short time, the assassins of the governor won't be able to cover their tracks. First man, write this down. This is critical. Is Proconsul Caracolla Galliaris Sextus Bologna. Been retired for a little over.
God.
Post in chat.
I will.
Please.
Calm down, bro.
Oh
He's been
my
retired
fucking
for a
God.
little over 2 years, but he has been a vocal enemy of the current governor, and now finds himself deceased. He was a former legate. He viewed our current governor as soft and ineffectual, made his opinions well known. They say it's a suicide, but I knew Caracolla. He's a motivated man with great career plans. He'd never throw it all away over something as shameful. The second man is Marsilius Vesnius Queso. He's less of a famous senator amongst the class, but he was still a pillar of his local community, and just like Caracolla, he spoke out against the cruelties of the governor. He was found, pushed from the roof of his barn by an invisible force, according to his family. Find what killed these men, and you'll find the cruelty of our governor on full and vicious display.
I see.
Mm.
Well, we should head out then.
Right,
He
then.
nods. He seems very pleased with himself.
Anything else that you'd like us to note or keep an eye out for while we are investigating these cruel murders?
There's other matters, other avenues of approach if you cannot prove his complicity in these murders, but they seem open and shut. I'm certain the governor's hidden assassins must have something to do with this.
Well, I suppose we will just have to find out.
He nods, seems self-assured. And Master Cicero guides you guys to the entrance of the estate. You guys reach the exit, sort of say, well, I wish you all the best of luck in your little jaunt through the countryside. I would express caution. I wouldn't go in there guns blazing accusing the governor as you investigate these. Beyond that, I trust all of your judgments.
To Cicero, can I whisper to him something very low?
Sure.
You do realize that Senator is truly and utterly insane.
He smiles and speaks up loudly so that everyone can hear. Perhaps he may not be entirely certain, but he is a loyal servant of the Empire, and the core of his beliefs are true. He simply must find the evidence for them.
I nod my head, as long as you are aware.
I am. Thank you for your concern, Lady Judge.
Of course. I nod.
Well, if any of you else have concerns about this, I'd be more happy to cover them, but for now, we must at least investigate the Senator's claims.
Well, off I go.
Alright, so, you have been pointed towards 2 provincial estates. One of them is probably going to be much larger. Someone who's a former proconsul is going to have a very large estate, and probably, huge tracts of land, several plantations, just incredible amounts of wealth. Whereas someone without even a clan nor a fancy title in front of him is probably going to be much smaller. Do you have any idea of where you want to start?
I'll pipe up to the group. Before we start, there's one quick errand that I need to run in the city. Should just be picking up something.
Great.
Can we do that real quick?
As long as you give me time to do my quick errand as well.
Wait,
I
for my
feel
thing,
like
was it
they-
a day for
I
my
feel like they're the
other?
same thing.
So today is November 1st, which means that... No, your shit is not done yet. Two
Was it
people...
2 days?
Yeah, yours is 2 days. Everyone,
okay.
Severus's and Maximus's were today.
I'd like to return to the jewelry shop as well.
Based.
We
So
all have
everyone
one
except for
minute.
Lars begins to stride towards the shopping district happily. Lars is just you, yourself, and you. Oh, you, yourself, and Gore. There it is.
Come on,
Um,
Lars. We'll get you something nice.
That's alright, you guys go on without me. I got something I could at least do for the time being.
Want something for not Lars, for Gore.
Or
I already looked into that as well, how much I can get for him.
Maybe a bone?
spoken to see if they could make custom. Any of the blacksmiths?
Yeah, I already checked. Not much we
I
can do
didn't
for
see
him.
anyone making horse armor, but it seems like Maximus found a guy who would do it for him.
Wow, that's incredibly perceptive of you to figure out that's what I was going to get.
He's smart like that.
I mean, you
oddly
literally told...
impressive.
No, I'm not... No,
Wait,
I
did
am
he say
smart
it?
because he literally told me my needs come first and I'm gonna get armor for my horse.
Oh, he did say that. That is true.
Oh, that's right. Based.
So you are perceptive, and you're so perceptive
say
he
that,
forgot he
didn't I?
told you. You're in
I'll
his
just-
mind.
I'll say, no, I already looked around. Anything that I'd be getting for Gore like that would be way out of my budget range.
Oh. Well,
Alright.
I'm sure the kitchen will have some bones for him.
Yeah, they already ordered him to get some meat for him next time, so he'll have plenty of food.
Wonderful.
So you guys begin to spread out. We'll go with, I guess just people ordered shit first because it'll be quick. Zennius and Severus, the two of you guys make your way to a leather worker in the craftsman area. If I recall correctly, you just got standard ass studded leather armor with no whistles and anything.
Correct.
That's correct?
I think so.
I think that's correct as well. Alright, then yeah, you guys can make your way there, and you can be granted a studded suit of brigandine, studded leather armor, same difference. And we can add that to your sheet. Heck,
Hope it's to your liking.
Thank you.
And I want to go order a breastplate.
okay, yeah, sure, you can find a black... sorry, yeah, you don't need to order a breastplate. Those are simple enough that they can actually fit them to size while you're in the shop.
Oh, sweet.
What would you like to do with your old leather armor, Hecko? You just want to sell it at like this lowest price you possibly can get it for?
What I mean, just sell it, yeah.
Yeah, so selling it quickly to someone is going to get you pennies on the coin, so you can get maybe 50 pence by selling it here.
I'll also sell my leather.
Holy shit.
Whatever.
Okay, great.
Also
Then you can add
yours,
2
huh?
silver and 10 copper to your sheet, and if you're also selling your leather, then yes, you can get the same thing.
Okay.
Shop owners are never going to give you a tenth of them. And yeah,
I
for a
just
breastplate, you
can't
can get
carry
that
it.
fitted to your chest very easily. It's, yeah, frankly, pretty simple. Actually, sorry, you don't have any crazy proportions, right? You're like 5'6", like your standard, your normal
I'm short.
creature?
But
Okay, yeah, perfect. 5'6" is average height, so I think you're nice and normal.
No, I'm shorter. I'm a
Oh,
little
you're
shorter.
shorter. Yeah, he's a manlet, so that's perfect. 8,000 pence for a breastplate.
Okay.
Oh, actually,
Sold.
in the city, it would probably be $9.
Okay, sold.
All right, great. Yeah, you can get a breastplate fitted to your chest, nice and shrimple. And
Very, very nice.
yeah,
It's a
and
big
you can get your
upgrade.
nice new brigandine, Severus, and the two of you guys can make your way back to the estate.
And is there a bookstore?
Is there a bookstore? Most certainly, yeah.
I would like to see if there is a Elven dictionary.
Yeah, we'll move back to that in a sec.
Okay.
All right, so Renesmee, you make your way to a jeweler's shop. They're not the same one, right?
Before I enter, no,
yeah.
I would like to go to the same one.
Okay.
And before I enter, I would like to rummage through my things to find my judge's badge.
Wonderful. Yeah.
And I
display
would
on
like
that
to,
chest.
yeah, I'd like to pin it to my cloak.
Of course.
Yes, and I would like to wander in again to see
Yeah.
the same.
The dwarf
Was
is
it a
seeing-
gnome?
It was. There are no gnomes. They never exist.
Gnome, fuck.
Yes, they're actually dwarves. Thank you very much. But yeah, he's tending to another customer, a fancy noblewoman who. What are you wearing? You're like wearing just armor, right?
Leather armor and like a very nice robe.
Yeah,
That was
I think the
stolen
woman
off
that
the
he's
dude
like
I
helping
killed.
to fit a ring to, she looks at you, and it's a look that kind of gives you whiplash because when you're a judicial duelist, you're dressed in the finest clothing. You know, you were up to date in fashions, but this woman looks at you and immediately disregards you and goes back to looking at the door. Even though you have the judge's badge, looks back at the door. Doesn't even like linger on your style or respect it. It feels almost a slight, you know. But the dwarf continues to tend to the woman's ring, adjusting it. They're making some small talk. She seems to be a regular considering he knows so much about her. But after he finishes fitting the ring to her finger size, she exits the shop and gives you, a curtsy. She's not totally like disrespectful of a judge. And the dwarf sort of straightens his posture and says, "Well, back so... Oh, welcome, Lady Judge."
Hi, I'm here to exchange this pearl.
Was there something wrong with it?
I've just changed my mind.
May I inspect it?
Of course. I open the clasp and
He
I
takes
hand
it
him
out.
the. Yeah.
Yeah, he looks very carefully for any sort of damage or chips that weren't there when he gave it to you, because there was that one scratch in it, and he understands that. But he does a full-on examination. You didn't damage it at all, so he puts it back in the container and says, "Oh, well, I can give you a refund, or if you'd like to trade in for something more expensive."
Well, I would like to trade in for something just, prettier, you could say.
All right. Have you come into some windfall of coin?
You could say that.
Well, then, do you know what you're looking for? With something trade in, we could start at around a 50 gold increase in price for some of my white opals and pearls.
Oh no, certainly not that much.
Oh.
I'm looking for the opal variety.
Well, if you're looking for anything white, it's going to cost a pretty penny. We do have a couple of black pearls, some of the finer ones that you couldn't afford before that I could give you. They have no scratches or marks them. They've been polished to a fine finish.
Anyone's of a particularly interesting origin. I'm a sucker for a story.
Nothing cheap, I'm afraid.
You have pearls with origins.
Well, of course I do.
Well, I would like to hear a story.
He looks at
Humor
you,
me.
and it seems like he's literally like mouthing the word for no, and then his eyes linger on your judge's badge, and he says, "Well, of course." And he reaches back behind the counter and produces a large turquoise gem. It has about 16 unique faces on it, all of which have been heavily buffed so that it almost fully reflects your gaze. You see within that gem, inside of it, there is a pearl about half the size of the gem. Though how something would get inside of that gem in the first place is utterly bizarre to you, and he holds it up and says, "This was recovered from the bottom of the Hammer's Fall by a crew of deep-sea diving wizards. Very strange fellows, and they sold this for a pretty penny. Recovered from the wreck of a Protonic treasure ship from nearly 700 years ago. They say it was a gift to some Protonic princess from the far western continent of savages."
Ah. Are there any rumors about it?
Well, other than the fact that the woman it was supposed to be delivered to passed away mourning that her husband never returned, there's not much else. I tried to find the name of this widow. Perhaps she has some long-lost descendant, but alas, the records from that time aren't very well kept.
I see. May I inspect it?
He once again looks at your judge's badge and sort of almost cringes as he hands it over to you.
I take it very delicately to show it respect, and I, bring it up. I want to put it in like a ray of light and
Yeah, it reflects
look at
tons.
it.
You notice as you put it through the light, it reflects prismatic color. So red there, blue there, like a prism.
Ah,
It is beautiful, I will admit. How much for it?
750 gold.
Oh, goodness gracious.
As I said, Lady Judge, stories do not come cheap.
Well, I certainly do not have 750 gold. Is there a judge's price or some sort of way that I can be indebted to you?
I'm afraid, my lady, that is the judge's price, and while I'm sure you're the most reliable woman in all the Empire, I can't quite give away that much amount of wealth.
I see. Well, I do appreciate it, and if you change your mind, if there's anything I can do for you that is more valuable than gold, let's say, you do let me know at some point. Until then, I will take a different one.
Of course, Lady Judge, I'll keep that in mind.
I will take the nicest black pearl that I can find.
Yeah, how much money do you have?
Last time the opal ones were worth like 15 gold. Yep. The black ones were worth like 3 or 4, and I spent 1 or 2. Yep. I forget how much exactly.
Yeah, it was roughly.
I probably have it written somewhere, but yeah,
Well, how much do you have? Do you want to get his finest black opal? Because that'll increase the price. Do you want to get his intro level white opal?
Well, what's an intro level white opal at?
It's similar to the one that you purchased, the black opal. It has scratches, some minor deformities, but it's far cheaper than even the, most smallest of his non-scratched ones.
No, I'll just get his finest black opal.
Okay, yeah, that'll cost about 7 gold.
Ah! Is there a normal black opal for 4 gold?
Yes, certainly that would be about a mid-range price one.
Okay. Yeah, I'll pay 4
right,
gold.
yeah,
but I've already. How much have I already paid?
So you already paid 2, so you'd only be paying 2 additional for this.
Oh, then I'll do the 7 one. Whatever.
All right, you get his finest black opal. It's a beautiful specimen. He tells you where it was recovered from the sandy beaches of west of Ravinium. Sailor. I mean, he tries to attach a story to it, but push come to shove, it's just a pearl. I mean, it is what it is. But it's fine. And you place it in the locket, and he modifies the locket a bit to accommodate some more space, not just for this, but for any future editions. And he says, well, if you ever find yourself with a larger windfall of coin and wish to add further assortments to this necklace, you can be more than happy to come here. And I made it adjustable. Any dwarf worth his salt should be able to put something fine in there.
I see. Well, thank you very much, and I extend my hand. Renesmee Defaja Fabricia. If you ever do happen to come upon something that you need, and are willing to exchange that beautiful pearl for it, do let me know. You can send for me.
Shakes your hand personally. And says, Barrick, pleasure to meet you, Lady Judge.
Of course. And I, nod at him, and I leave.
Yeah, you exit the jeweler's shop.
So I have to negative how much?
2 gold.
No, she bought the
fine.
No,
she bought the fine one. Sorry, 4 gold. Yeah, 4 gold. Sorry.
Or isn't it 5 even?
No.
7 minus. 4. Yes, it is 5. Thank you, Heck.
7.
I know do good math.
Okay, what's 42 minus 5?
42 minus 5 is a number
42
called
gold.
37.
Crying about 7.
Okay, good.
Wait, that's true. You literally you did a deep intake of breath when he said 7. That's funny.
And I also was no from the difference.
Yeah, I thought she had 2 gold on her. I was like, damn, she broke.
No, we just got paid the
I didn't remember the amount to be.
Yeah.
It was 33 each.
Okay.
Can I go to a blacksmith? Sorry, I don't want to role play my shopping adventure, so I'll make this brief.
Yep.
I'd like to go to a blacksmith. Oh, hi, blacksmith. Nice to meet you.
Yeah.
Hi. So, I am a druid, and I do not like to wear metal, but I would like to have some sort of good armor on me to prevent me from, dying. So, I open my cloak and I show him my current armor. I do a little twirl for him. Can you please fit me with something better than this?
Yeah, I mean, the blacksmith tries to be polite as possible, but he makes metal.
Well, do you know where I can go and find... Oh, a tanner! Sorry. I meant a tanner.
You
Can we
still have
redo
the
this?
studded leather armor. Also has metal in it. You have the finest
Oof.
armor that you could possibly have that has no
Hide?
metal in it. Hide is
Hide?
worse than
Oh.
leather for her.
No, it
she
isn't.
has. Well, she has high dex. Oh no, she only has
No,
a
she
1 in
doesn't.
dex.
Hide would be
Damn.
better.
Yogi on today. He knows everything. God damn, he knows his
Is that
players stats
true?
better than I do. I think it is. Yeah.
Got a
we can just check
spreadsheet
that.
open.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, well,
Okay,
then I'll
hide
go to-
12 plus. I know it would be better. Yeah. Now, let me think. Do you intend on increasing your dex anytime soon? I'm guessing not.
Even if she increased it by 2, it would only be 15, so it'd be a.
It'd be better. But it's literally just a function of whether she increases dex. So do you want to become, in future levels, do you plan on becoming more dexterous, or probably not, right?
It doesn't really matter to me.
Okay, then yeah, hide would be better for you. So yeah, you can go to a tanner. How do you feel about wearing dead animals? I guess you're already wearing armor. Not a big deal.
Yeah, I think that it's like a natural thing. Also,
Sure.
Wait,
as a druid,
Wait,
I
how
know
is-
that generally we're supposed to be against wearing metal, but I think that more specifically, Renesmee would be against like the like non-respectful acquiring of natural products.
Okay,
I
so
think-
almost
Which
all.
would also be against wearing bone.
No. The thing is that druids will not wear armor or use shields that are made of metal, and that is mostly because of the deal that they made with their spirit to gain their magic to respect the natural world. So metal
Oh,
is
really?
metal's highly
Oh, is
exploitive
it?
because you're literally tearing it from the bowels of the earth, like ripping it out of Mother Nature, if you believe that sort of thing. Whereas hide, I mean, there's an argument to be made that like it's just creatures walking atop Earth, and it's just things. It's animal killing animal and then wearing animal. Like animals in nature do that all the time. So who cares? If you
Wait,
use
so
it?
I see.
druids like against? Wait, so that means that druids should never be using diamonds, right? Because you're ripping them from the clouds of
No.
earth, right?
Not necessarily.
Good
Diamonds can be
gems.
acquired magically in a way that doesn't literally rip it from the earth.
How do we feel about secondhand? Things that aren't creating a demand.
Here's the thing: no druid is following these tenets 100%. They wouldn't be able to exist in society. I mean, you have like torches on you. You have a mess kit which has a metal fork. Like at a certain point, you have to give up things to practicality. It's just a general ethos to live your life by.
So I'm a fucking D&D vegan.
I mean, yeah, I was gonna say, as a vegan, you should probably understand this, no?
God.
Nice.
Well, that's why,
Nice.
that's why I said secondhand. Hey, I'm not vegan anymore. I'm pescatarian. However, I was talking about
Yeah,
secondhand
however,
metal
you
because
do
I'm
enjoy
not buying
secondhand
on demand.
burgers.
Anyways, so I think you get the point. And you can spend
I
one.
buy the burger and then give it to you. You eat
No,
it.
like you take like one bite and you're like, I'm stuffed. Here, Peach.
So, anyways, I think you get the idea. And so you can buy some hide armor for 1.
Okay, I'll do that.
All right, it
Negative
increases
1.
your AC by 1. Congratulations. Would you like to sell your leather armor for some money?
Sure. Oh, so I have 15 AC?
You no, 14.
Drag hide onto your.
Oh, right now
I
I
already
have
dragged it
14.
You are
But-
now encumbered though, by 2 pounds,
Uh-oh.
Oh,
2.26.
no.
You also got
What
50
random
copper.
crap How is she encumbered? What random crap does she have?
He has hempen rope, a bunch of food. Holy shit, 20 pounds of food. Good.
Put that on her horse.
Yeah, what?
Yeah.
Can I
also
put that on my
rope is
horse?
expensive.
You
What's on my
can put it
horse?
on your horse, or you can just remove it from your sheet. Up to you.
Yeah, I'd like to put that. Well, I'd like to put most of it on my horse.
All right, then we're just gonna do all of it, and then
Do
Nami.
you have
Right, there
saddlebags?
you go. Probably. If not, it's like such a trivial
Yeah.
thing. We're just gonna say shoot.
It's a good point.
Okay, I'm gonna do 36 gold then. -1, and I have my armor on me. Oh yes, you changed it to hide armor. Got it.
You got
okay,
50
cool.
copper, and I'm gonna adjust one more thing on your sheet so that it doesn't count.
Oh,
There it is.
Does.
Great, it's fixed. All right, great. Okay, Renesmee's good. Maximus, you head to the guy. Your horse armor is completed, and your horse now has a total of 17 AC? Question mark?
That sounds right. Yes.
Because you
got
did
the
not
one
get plate,
red
right?
below
Because it was too expensive. Yeah.
No,
So
that
17
is-
AC.
that
All right.
Plate
I will
horse armor
adjust
is fucking ridiculous.
Mickey's sheet accordingly. He is at full HP, full armor. Congratulations.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
He doesn't gain
looks-
health
he
with
looks
you,
so-
right?
I don't. That's not part of like Cavalier. or
Yeah, I
anything,
didn't think so. Okay, good. All right. Also, look at this. The token is now accurate. It actually has
Oh.
armor on, you know?
Oh,
Yeah, armor and
beautiful.
barding. Right? All right, so
Beautiful.
that is. We got Maximus. We got Zednius. No, Zednius is going to a bookstore. We got Severus. We got Renesmee. Doda, you said that Lars was sticking around with the property. What's he doing there?
I did not say that. If I aren't, if it's not easy to find like some sort of medical place or doctor place, then I'm probably gonna ask like local guards.
It's super easy. Now, well, sorry. Define what you mean by a medical place. Does a shrine with a cleric count?
I want to be able to get tended to. I'm still super fucked up from our last fight.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
I'm still
yeah, if you're
very,
that
very-
injured, you can speak with the senator, and he can call around his personal physician, as well as. Yeah, I think Cicero can probably convince him to shell out the money it requires to get you an actual cleric, because those are fucking expensive. Oh my god. It's like.
Gotcha.
Ethan, you remember this in Limits Man? How much was the spell? It was like D100. No, it was a D10 times 100 per spell level. It was fucking crazy expensive to get
They
scrolls.
bought them out at like 1,000 gold.
Yeah, they're really expensive. But yeah, I think he'll be able to get you a basic cure wounds. So you get one. What's the healing for Healer's Kit? It's 1d8 plus proficiency modifier. It's a question for you, Dodo.
I thought it was 1d6 plus 4 from
1d6.
Laya's healer
Okay.
thing.
Yeah, so then that'll be 1d6 plus 5 from a professional doctor. And then a Cure Wounds at 3rd level from a
Let me make
professional
sure
cleric
that's
will
correct.
be
I think that
a
is.
23 HP. So that's what he can get you. That's what the senator can get you. 33 HP.
Okay. Yeah, I did 1d6 plus 4. Honk. That's all my HP. Let's go.
Wonderful. Is there anything else you'd like to do?
Besides requesting for the cook to get some meat for Gore
Which
for
she absolutely
tomorrow and onward.
If not, that's fine. I thought you'd mentioned.
Is there anything I can actually do to train Gore with, or is he like capped out?
If you had a long period of time, like 40 weeks, same as it takes you to train a skill, we could talk about stuff like pack tactics or things like that. But with such a limited period of time, a couple days, no, not really.
Okay. Yeah, I'll just hang around the estate then.
All right. And finally, we have Zednius. Zednius, are you dragging Severus with you to the bookshop?
No.
Okay. Hatagal is going to stay on
Oh,
your
I
shoulder.
would have just followed him unless. he
Oh,
told
no,
me
that's
to
fine then.
go.
Yeah, the two of
I
you
can
guys
tell
are...
you to go away, but if you want to, I'm telling you, I'm gonna go to the bookstore.
Great. If
You
no
can
one
come
sends
if
him
you
away.
want.
he's-
Well, I'm basically coming just because I feel like obligated to, because he gave me a fucking really expensive armor.
All right, so the pair of you guys head to this bookstore. As you guys are walking, Hatagal has been remarkably clingy. Zednius, he hasn't said anything. He's not very talkative, nor is he ever. But he just seems he's not like wandering off your shoulder and rolling
Was
around
that
random
the
fucking
most-
streets.
Was that the most pain that I think he's been in? Because he's probably died before.
Yeah, he's
But
died
I don't know
before.
if he
I'm trying to
died like
think.
that.
How has he died the other time? Yeah, he's died in this campaign before. It was definitely up there. I mean, just for context, he took something in the realm of like 60, 70 damage in one hit, so it was pretty bad.
Holy fuck.
Wait, what the fuck?
Yeah, so he's not
That
doing
was
great.
a crit sneak attack or some dumb shit.
Something like that. So yeah, that was probably up there with the worst pain you've ever experienced through him. So he's been very quiet. And you
Okay.
guys approach this bookstore. You know,
but,
yeah.
on the way, I'm gonna tell Severus that I think that the governor is in cahoots to overthrow Fort Romulus or to sacrifice Fort Romulus illegally. So if we find any evidence of that,
I don't think Severus knows
Make sure to
anything
keep in
about
mind.
this whole like Legion.
and I'm
plotline.
telling him that. I'm telling them
No,
that
no, I
there is
mean,
a major
I don't even-
plot.
Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think Heko knows. Heko, again, correct me if I'm wrong, but you don't even... Have you heard of Fort Romulus before?
No?
Okay, yeah, so, yeah, that's what I'm trying to say, Yogi. I don't think he knows
Uh-oh.
anything about anything, like, related to this.
Okay.
I
You
have
can
not
tell
the
him if you
opportunity
want.
to
If you want
touch
to
Just
him.
look
brief-
for, if we
yeah.
find evidence, I could brief him in chat or something. I don't want to.
Sure,
Unless
that's
you want
fine.
me to
Yeah,
rehash
if
all
you
of
just
it.
say, like, Zednius explains to Zephyrus all the shit happening with the legions and their covert movements. and
Yeah,
then-
on the way, I'm explaining all of this.
Okay,
and-
great. You can DM it to him between sessions, or right now if you'd like. But you guys, you explain this to him and explain the governor's potential connection to it. And the pair of you approach a bookstore. One of the few places where the Empire is largely egalitarian. There's a little bit of, sussy stuff when it comes to the fact that almost every senator is human, but largely it's egalitarian. Except for things of the highest echelons of society, such as senators, such as bookstores, because each book is like 2 gold per. So you see a human running this shop, you see humans in line, you see, despite this being an incredibly diversity with Galadrim half-elves and dwarves and flings, there's not a single non-human in sight, especially on this street. So you stand out, I don't want to say like a sore thumb, but Severus definitely stands out like a sore thumb.
Right. Okay.
You do have a
I
judge's
don't-
badge, though.
I do have a judge's badge, and I can just say he's with me. So
Yeah.
I mean,
You can step
they
up
should
into the
treat me all
bookstore.
right.
It doesn't quite look like a modern bookstore where you have books, covering the entire thing, because books are expensive. We're talking about 2,000 minimum price. Most of these far more expensive because they're basically works of art because there's no printing press. So there is a guard like outside this building and on the inside. They'll wave you through, of course, because judge's badge. And there are very few books kept on open display. These things are worth more than some small banks and villages and stuff like that. So they are kept under lock and you can head in and sort of look around. The majority of the texts here are going to be the things the nobility pay for, which is going to be things like history, a very small amount of science, religion, and like opinions, I guess, like philosophy.
Would wanting the main religious text of the Aurelian Soul, would I get that for free at a church?
Yeah, well, at a sufficiently sized church, yes.
Right. Okay. So I wouldn't want to buy that here.
Probably not.
Unless I want the hardcover deluxe version.
Exactly, because here it'll have illustrations and like probably author's notes, like, well, I think this about religion, something like that, or like a commentary version from one of the emperors.
Right. I don't care as much. So should I don't. What do I see right away? Nothing.
There's no language books on display like Dwarvish or Elvish or anything.
Okay. I'll go to the shopkeep or like a helper or somebody.
Yeah, so the proprietor, there's no like shelf because it's more like kind of like an art exhibit almost, with people sort of walking from shelves and be like, oh, that looks interesting. But the proprietor is very clear. He's a very fancy nobleman. When you hear people talking to him, they go through like 6 or 7 names, and he, addresses them by their full titles as well, probably the regulars. He wears a very fine suit, probably more money than you've earned as a judge so far, and he'll walk over to you guys as he sees you looking around and say, well, welcome, most esteemed judge.
Thank you. My name is Zednius Titus Fabricia Verusian, at your service.
Verusian? Well, it's a pleasure to host such a venerable bloodline within my estate.
Thank you. I was curious if you had any books on language here. I'm trying to connect to my elven roots.
What particular language were you thinking of?
Elvish.
Well, Similin, modern common, the ancient Elvish tongue, or an intermediary?
An ancient.
Ancient.
I know that they study it here. Professor Galahad.
At the symposium, they do it through word of mouth. Written texts of any ancient elven variety are highly regulated. I don't have any on... I think I know of a contact who may have one in the capital, and with your access, perhaps you could find something in Imperial archives, but their relationship with savory religious sects has kept the link largely limited to academic.
I see. Okay.
If it's just with connecting to your roots, I have a book about Westbarring culture. I even have a more up-to-date text about Rieman's Rebellion. It's a recent political thriller. It happened just a few years ago across the coast into the land of savages.
Let me see them.
If you'd be interested in purchasing them.
Oh. What was the first one he said? It was
the first one is on Westbarring culture and things like that, and the second one is a more recent. It's historical. Westbar is one of the 3 half-elven kingdoms to have ever existed. There is Galadrim, which fell apart 100 years ago, the Athnoin, which never really had a kingdom, they're just a bunch of tribes, and then the Westbar kingdom, which was a thing for a very long time and is still a thing. I mean, arguably. It's had a bit of a downturn recently.
And then the Remen thing, how does that relate to...
Rieman's Rebellion was a very negative political event that happened for the Westbarns. It's just a very recent political thing that took place there.
Okay. I'm curious about the book on the Westbar.
The culture?
Yes.
All right, I can furnish it for you. It's been printed rather recently. It costs around 6 gold pieces.
That should do.
All right, and he'll bring you, he'll take the text and unfold it. He'll fold it up on the table. He'll put a nice little bow in it, and he'll write in the full name now. You just mentioned it once, but he still writes out your full name onto the slip. And he says, well, if that is all, though, if you are interested in half-elven culture, there is the book on Rieman's Rebellion. I believe there is historical text named Tavington Adventures about a travel to the Athenian tribes, though it's more of a editorial piece about living amongst those tribes within the desert rather than a historical retrospective.
I think I'm satisfied with just this book for today, but thank you very much.
Of course, Lord Judge. All right, and
You're searching for Severus.
you know, I wouldn't worry about it. And as you turn around to exit the shop, you see Severus leering at a large, sort of locked-in case. There's like a little padlock on it, and within is a book that looks like an absolute work of art. Several members of the shop are looking at him, like even the guards are looking at him. But when you walk over and make it clear he's with you, they all sort of direct their gaze elsewhere, and the two of you can exit the shop.
Okay, how much do books weigh?
2 pounds.
Okay. Book on West Bar.
Just a really fun, brief little aside, because I just find this stuff very amusing. Freeman's Rebellion is not some horror event that I wrote about. It was Ethan here played a character named Riemann Nandor, who about 4 years ago destroyed the entire kingdom of Westbar through Civil War. So.
Oh,
It was,
nice!
yeah, he basically destroyed the
what do you
last
mean?
bastion
I
of
wrote a
elven
book
culture.
about it. That's really
Of course
cool.
they did, because he destroyed a kingdom by accident.
Destroyed is a bit of a strong word.
Yeah, well,
right?
the historians will decide that.
Okay, yes, the historians will decide it by writing Exeter instead of West Exeter nowadays.
Yes, they will. Anyway, so you can take this novel with you and exit.
Well, it's not a novel. It's like a historic.
Yeah,
like
it's
a
well,
nonfiction, right?
not exactly. There's no
There's
such thing as
novel
like
and
true
fiction.
history, but this is like a
Oh, okay.
sort of cultural analysis of West Barnes. I mean, the SparkNotes version is they do a lot of inbreeding. They're very racist and they have a unique cuisine. I mean, we'll talk about more in the future, but that's the SparkNotes version.
Okay.
Yeah, and where are you and Severus headed off to now? Back to the estate?
I believe so. Since I think
Perfect.
he said that all the Elvish books were lock and key in the main city.
Yeah, roll me, I don't even know what this would be, religion or history, frankly. I'm sure whatever your better modifiers and you'll want to roll, but one of those two, religion or history.
Oh yeah, I want to stop at the church and pick up one of the.
Yeah,
big
sure, we
churches
don't
and
even
pick
need to
up
do
the
that.
main
That's
book.
like, literally, it's like the Bible in every hotel room. You can pick this up super
Exactly.
easily. For the religion check, he mentioned unsavory religious groups, and it takes your brain a few seconds to process that, and then you recall, cults other than the Imperial Creed are very rare in the Empire, but when they do pop up, they are eradicated with fucking hellfire. That's a part of what judges do. They remove, religious heretics. And most heretics tend to follow the same, rough pantheon, and most of them end up having a high-ranking member that speaks Elvish and worships demons. So it has that heavy connotation in the Empire of like, why do you want to learn Elvish again? Like, can you sort of explain that? Which is why probably it's under such lock and key. There's nothing inherent in the Elvish language. I mean, the guy you met, he's not a demon worshiper and he spoke Elvish, but it has
Like,
sort of.
start my own cult eventually.
I would
I-
not say that,
I've
but it
got
definitely has
technical.
negative connotations.
Okay.
All right, so you guys can all meet up back at the estate of the senator about an hour, maybe an hour and a half after you guys departed. Lars is there petting Gore. Hetegol has remained quiet for most of this, and you guys can all mount up. And returning to the question I asked, I think that was like an hour and a half ago, which estate are we headed to first?
Well, do you guys want to go to the big one or the little one? All right. Well, I suppose we'll go to the little
Go to
one.
the big one.
Oh. Okay.
All right.
Because, like if we go to the big one, the thing may just get solved at the big one.
Sure.
That seems more likely
Sure.
because it's bigger, more things.
Genius.
All right.
All right. You guys mount up, and you're right out of Ravinium. It's a particularly windy day. It sort of batters you guys as you ride outside the city. You can hear the sound of leaves tossing in the wind, and it is getting late in the year. It is getting into November. Most of Ravinium is pretty nice. Like, you're not going to have too much problem with things like snow and things like that, but all the leaves are dead now. And there's this very unnerving moment as you guys look towards a wood to your north, and you see leafless trees. And for just about half a second, you're like, oh my god, the deadwood has expanded. And then you realize, nope. Oh, it's just winter. All trees look dead at this time of year. They're not actually dead like the deadwood, but man, do they look similar. And even looking to your south towards the actual deadwood, now all the trees have no leaves, and you can't really distinguish like what's a deadwood tree and what's a standard, deciduous tree.
Odd.
So yeah, it's definitely a bit unnerving, but such is life in Reggio Nova 3 months a year. And you continue on your way. The ride to this very small little village that the nobleman is from is a pretty uneventful one. I assume you guys aren't chatting much. It's about an hour and a half ride out to this tiny little punk village. Oh, sorry, you said you're going to the big one.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. Then it's not a podunk village. You guys are going to a sort of agricultural spoke. It has large amounts of fields surrounding it and things like that.
I'm still pretty quiet.
All right. So it's a nice and quiet ride through the countryside. Plenty of people tending to their crops. Even this deep in the winter, Reggio Nova is warm enough year-round that you're able to grow winter wheat and things like that. So you ride past fields of people sowing new crop for the winter season. And you can approach a sprawling estate. It is big. Just for context of size, it's bigger than Fort Celestine. It's bigger than the symposium grounds that you guys were on. It is one of the biggest structures you've seen, and a large proportion of that seems to come from vast plantations surrounding it. Now, slavery is illegal in the Empire, but indentured servitude is not. So you see a large variety of, for humans, or practically any race, they don't distinguish working on these vast farming grounds surrounding the estate. And I don't know if you guys want to adopt any stratagem upon approaching, because Severus doesn't have his judge's badge, so I guess, yeah, I don't want to really thrust you in the situation. So you can see this estate, you just need to follow a road up to it. What's your method of approach?
Which one of them was killed here?
Proconsul Caracolla Galerius Sextus Bologna.
And how was he killed?
Suicide.
Ah.
Allegedly. He doesn't believe. The senator doesn't believe.
Yes. Okay. So, we could say we're judges just doing some like formality type investigations into the death of a senator. It's just like, we got to do this. It's something that just needs to be done. So why don't you just let us take a look around and we'll be out of your hair.
I agree.
Right,
I think we should say
we
some sort of formality when a senator dies, or at least when two senators die, or I don't know if we want to even mention the other one.
Let's just mention one for now. Let's not connect to them unless they connect them.
Got it. Yeah, we can say it's a formality,
Mm-hmm.
We gotta dot our I's and cross our T's.
Everyone happy? Any complaints?
I have no complaints.
No complaints.
Well,
Cool. All right then.
how will we explain Severus?
He's new. Doesn't have his badge yet.
God.
I've returned.
You can also stay
hello.
outside.
They're
It's
not-
better.
I mean, they're not gonna know the difference.
So have you come up with a plan?
Yeah, we're gonna say it's just like a formality that we have to investigate.
Board
Sucks,
veggies?
but yeah.
Okay. All
We
right.
were passing through helping the Southern Legions, and they just kind of asked us.
Sure. And what about Severus?
He's a judge, he just doesn't have his badge on.
Okay. All right. So the four of you guys proceed up this road towards the estate, and it seems to be in.
Wait, isn't impersonating judge like a really bad crime?
We can pardon you.
But also, yeah.
We can pardon you for almost anything, Severus.
Okay.
Yeah, who's gonna convict you? Us?
Bro. The only people that outranks them is the Emperor and some consuls. Probably safe. All right, so you guys make your way up the road to this estate, and it seems to be in a bit of a process of moving. You see furniture being taken out of the estate and splayed out onto the lawn. A master servant is directing the whole process. You can see a woman sort of just standing in the second-story window, staring out at this large field of furniture out front, and she looks like she's in black, the colors of mourning. Her husband literally died yesterday. So, and yeah, the rest of the estate seems to be... Now, the workers are still working in the fields, but most of the servants on the estate seem to be generally sad. And I think it would probably be the master servant who approaches your group of 5 horsemen, and he'll just sort of look at your chest, see the judge's emblem, and then all expectantly.
We're here to investigate the murder.
He recoils as you say that. I'm afraid that you may have found the wrong place then.
We're gonna fuck it up right away, Zed.
Suicide.
Why does he need investigating?
Sorry. He is new. We are here to investigate the suicide of Proconsul Caracalla Galerius Sexus Bologna. We are here, unfortunately, as a formality, yes. We have to cross our T's and dot our I's.
He slowly nods. All right then. I can bring you to the chamber of his death. I can give you a quick tour around the place and resolve this quickly if it's just a formality.
Yes, of course.
That would be excellent.
And he brings you guys to the home. He quickly gets your horses. Actually, probably doesn't even stable them. You're not going to be here that long. He just ties them up to posts, tethers, more accurately. And he will guide you through the first floor. He won't even give you really a tour, which is what most master servants would do in this case. They'll be like, but he doesn't do that. He says, as you can see, things are a bit of a flux at the moment. Brings you up to the second story. You guys speed through several hallways. He doesn't really explain much. You just see portraits of. Yeah, I mean, you're just getting rushed through here so quickly, you can't really make out much other than portraits of a couple of famous centurions and a couple of generals, and then you're quickly in a bedroom. Everything here seems to have been kept the same, as best as you can tell. There's a tipped-over chair. There's no obvious implement of killing, no noose or anything cob like that. There is a glass of half-drunken whiskey on sort of shelf, and Mr. Servant sort of stands there.
Well, we need to take a formal report of everything that happened relating to the suicide, so if you don't mind, we'd like to know the story.
Well, all of the proconsul's children are off with their respective duties out on the plains. His wife out into guests in the city. He and the rest of the servants were at the state. Came into his bedchambers after a hunting trip. Didn't speak much other than how the trip had gone. Doors were closed, or was locked from the inside. Actually, we battered the door down and found him in the morning.
Why did you batter the door down?
When we knocked, he never answered.
Ah.
Knocked for hours. We got the physician to see if perhaps he was feeling unwell, but he never even answered to his own question. Around there where we began to suspect things wrong.
Did he leave a note?
No. No sign of anything, really. In fact, the physician and cleric both concurred there was no physical sign of death, so simply he was.
He mentioned something about the hunt. He was unhappy with it?
Yes. He'd been out towards the mountains, brought back venison, boar, large iron keg. Spoke that, the hunting trip had gone relatively well, but he'd been...
Did you or anyone else in the house notice that he was more sad lately, more depressed?
No, really. I mean, as I said, a little bit annoyed from the hunt, but wasn't much one of a man to linger on his failures.
Had he been acting strangely, approaching his death?
He'd been gone for several weeks on a trip. Say.
Where did he go?
Into the foothills of the Atlian Mountains. It's a usual thing for him. He likes to go alone. Very rarely he'll bring servants. He gets very testy.
Is he normally gone that long?
Oh, certainly. He likes the idea of hoofing it through the woods alone, like back when he was a soldier in the woods.
And why does he get testy?
He doesn't like it when people come along with him, setting up tents for him and the like. It spoils the experience.
What makes you think he didn't just die in his sleep?
Well, he was only in his 40s.
Just suddenly.
So you found him in bed?
No. Points towards the chair next to the emptied glass of whiskey.
You found him in the chair.
Yes.
Was he on the floor by the chair? Or did you topple the chair?
The chair had already been toppled. It's like he fell back.
Can anyone here inspect that whiskey and see if it's true that the poison was in there?
There was a physician and a cleric. Both concurred the cause was most likely able to identify the exact.
I'll look at Zednius and Severus. Either you two know anything about poisons?
Damn, profile.
Fortunately not.
Absolutely, yes.
Just because they're frumentari.
Correct,
Well-
yes. Absolutely. I'm superstitious soldier.
Yes.
I could bring back a rat, give it a little bit of the whiskey. Not enough to kill it, of course, but enough that
Depending on what
it'll
poison it is.
consume it.
Of course.
Just
Yes.
sip it. Find out.
Did you just say you sipped it?
No.
Oh, okay.
Oh my god, that would be
No, I just thought
fucking
that I was
base
just,
tracking the poison.
No, I'm not saying you can do that. I was just clarifying that's what.
Wait, in your world,
know if it's
if
poisoned
you
or
die
not,
of
really.
poison, can you like not come back?
So
to
I use
something?
the second edition poison system. So if you fail a save on certain poisons, you instantly die.
Yes, as
Oh my god!
one guy so unfortunately found out.
Yeah. So for really deadly poisons, you can expect below. Actually, no, you don't have a poisoner's kit proficiency. I refuse to explain.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But yeah, I mean, you would know in the world there are people, the strongest men in the world, you know, fucking brave heroes of legends, and just die of poison sometimes.
Damn.
So poison drakes are the most dangerous thing ever. Cool.
Well, no, most of them can just be removed by magic, because clerics, that's what they specialize in, or you can just be resurrected, but there are a very, very, very small number of select poisons where you can't be revived by them. But those are, like, way more rare than anything here. Like, there's no shot that was used here, or it would be the talk of
Because it would be
the
too
Empire.
expensive, right?
And just rare. I mean, there's a limited amount of it.
Yeah, which
Yeah.
means it's expensive because less supply.
You can't even buy it, is my point. Like, this is the shit that you go and do a whole quest to collect. It's not something you're buying from, like,
Ah.
a local poisoner.
For like 1,000,000 gold.
Yeah. So it's certainly not that. It's not one of those things in ancient
Is
stories.
this like, are you talking about like shit that Aeolian doesn't have access to?
No, that manticore poison he got was gotten by Quest. I mean, he didn't have to do it, but
Ah. Yeah, okay. Guess that makes sense.
Oh,
So-
we could
so-
test the whiskey on someone else. Not someone, sorry, something.
the
An
master
animal,
servant
of
just
course.
sort of clears his throat and says, "If you'd like, I can go fetch." Both of the physician and the cleric are still on site. They're putting the body in the family mausoleum.
Oh, are they gonna taste the poison?
Alright.
No, I
What?
do not intend to taste the poison. Just saying,
The
if you
cleric
like,
may be able to tell us what kind of poison it is.
Yes.
master servant, no.
The cleric couldn't even establish that it was poison.
True.
Doubt they'll be able to tell us that. What type?
Well, if he couldn't
Remember,
tell
you
us
said you
what,
could.
if he couldn't tell us that it was poisoned, then there's no evidence that this whiskey is even poisoned. Like it wouldn't be poisoned if he did his thorough examination.
Only one way to find out. Bernesme, you should
Drink,
bring up
drink,
a small
drink.
animal now.
How about
Oh,
we test it on your
What?
horse?
no.
Christ.
Because I can just turn into an animal with a lot of hit points.
And as
You
we
could
instantly-
don't do
Instant death.
That is
pepper
not. Yeah, do not do. So
When drinks
Terrible idea.
poison, do they?
So that's what
instantly
I was
die?
gonna say. I think we've determined in the past that while 99% of shit will not carry over from animal form to person form, I think poison has to be one of those things that like sticks around. I don't think just by turning into it, like turning from animal into person, it demetabolizes like all that poison in your system. So I'm just now you can't do this. I'm just saying, do not do this under the assumption you will be immune to the effects of poison after turning back into human form.
She dies
Got it.
instantly and just turns human and is fine.
Yeah, that doesn't.
Full HP.
Good, Chad. Well, I think that someone should bring us back some rats or a bunny rabbit of some sort. Some
Master servant
small animal.
nods. We have several rat catchers on site. I could some of their prey.
Yes, please.
You know, and exits the room and leaves you all to your lonesome.
Are you
Severus,
against
did you
animal?
suggest I feed it to my
killing.
horse?
Who said that?
I look at him
This
and
is
just
I
give him a
asked Severus this.
sly smile and say, You didn't think I was serious, did you?
Just had to be sure.
Curious.
He's
You know.
very protective of his horse.
I never know with you sneak types.
Jesus.
You want to call me anything else? Got any other slurs?
That's a slur to say you're sneaky. Sneak, yeah, that.
Don't say the S slur.
He's just doubling down. God damn. All right. So are you guys just waiting here for the master servant to return? I don't know.
He's
if you guys
fetching the
wanna do
cleric too, right?
indeed, and the physician.
Yeah, I want to investigate the room, I guess.
All right.
For like signs of foul play.
So we can have. It sounds like Severus wants to join, so we can have you two doing that. Maximus, what do you want to do? They're investigating the room for signs of foul play.
Yeah.
Is there a whiskey? I'll look for a whiskey bottle.
Alrighty. Lars, what do you want to do?
I honestly don't know if I'll be able
I
to
think
help
we should
much.
go check on the cleric and physician before they put the body down for good, right?
That's not going
agreed.
to happen for some time.
Oh, I thought they were
he
doing it
didn't-
right now.
No. He's just the body's being prepared in the mausoleum. You don't want it to rot while you're waiting for the funeral. But yeah, it takes weeks to arrange funerals so family can come.
We'll check out the body later. We surely will want to see it.
Surely. All right. Well, Lars and
I'll fetch you.
Zenius, the two of you with lacking investigative ability, in the doorway. Renesmee with a 20.
What?
Well, you're not investigating, so you're just hanging out in the doorway with Lars.
You never asked me what I was doing.
Oh, I'm sorry. Were you doing
I'm
something?
standing in the doorway.
Oh
That's
my
a
fucking
classic Yogi lol W. All right, so Renesmee, you and Severus begin to scour every square inch of this room. You find windows locked, as the master servant reported. You find the door has a latch from the inside, but no lock from the exterior, meaning if it was locked, it had to be inside. You find that there is a half-drunken glass of whiskey, and there's no sign of it spilling. You look at the chair. There's no sign of struggle. There's no broken timbers. There's no sign of scratches in the floor. But you get to the bed. There are worn marks into the wood, indicating that this bed has been, not recently, but frequently, probably over years, have been dragged across the floor, leaving these sort of, maybe not troughs, that's way too strong a word, but like scratch marks and worn bits of wood.
I get up close to it, and then I look up at Zednius. Does your little friend
Severus.
want to go?
Severus,
No,
not
no.
Zenius.
No, she's asking about.
No, I'm looking up at Zednius.
Oh, okay. Sorry, Severus was
She's
the one
in the
helping you
door frame.
search. So yeah, no, you're right. I'm speaking.
Yeah, no, it's okay.
You misspoke.
Zednius, I think
Yes,
there might
Renesmee?
be a secret room underneath here. Look at this. Scratch marks.
Oh,
like
let's
this.
move the bed.
We should, but I think that you should send your little friend down there. I mean, I'd like to investigate it myself, but I don't know how long it's going to be until the master servant comes back.
Well, I would. Okay. Hegel, it should be safe, right? We're still in the same room. There shouldn't be anything there. Do you mind going
Hegel
under the bed
hops
and
off
telling
your
us what's
shoulder.
there?
Begins to fall across the ground. And you feel something wet and slimy press against your hand, Renesmee, and then slurp as it disappears into the bottom of the bed.
I look back at Zednius. Does that mean that there was something there?
I think he's looking.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
You can look through Zednius' eyes. He has dark vision, right?
I can look through Zednius's.
Fuck,
I
my
can,
mistake.
Yes,
Jesus
you do
Christ.
it
You guys
every
cursed me
day.
with misspeaking. I was doing
Miss-
fine.
Oh,
He does have dark vision, yes.
Damn it. Anyways, yeah, he has dark vision. So you look through Hegel's eyes. He squeezes. It's an inch, right? That's how small. Okay, yeah. So he squeezes through a hole in the floor, and at first he sort of looks around. There's a hole here, like a hidden space, 5 feet by 5 feet by 7 feet, which is fucking huge. It's like the size of the bed, dug into the floor, and very deep, 7 feet deep. And at the base of this opening is a iron keg, which is weird. It's a keg made out of iron, and it looks like it has broken chains all around it, like 6 or 7 that were once crossed around the lid and other places like that have snapped at their weakest link. And you can see even broken locks sitting on the ground. That is not what draws your attention.
The chains were around the keg?
Yes. And the keg is burst open, like at the seams. Every single seam along it where the metal is riveted together has been shattered open. And along all the chains, you can see the deep arcane glyphs carved into them that are no longer glowing, which means their magic has been expended.
think he was holding something down there that got out.
How do you know? What is it? A cage?
There's a busted open iron keg with chains all around it, and then some used up glyphs.
Glyphs. Can you draw them?
Yeah, Hatagal will do
Try.
you one better. He'll like press his body into the fucking glyph, so you're not just like drawing it from vision. You're feeling it like against your fucking hand, and you're like, oh, and just sketching it accordingly. And you can start drawing these out. I mean, it's just going to be whoever has a good Arcana check can try to roll and about this, or anyone who's detect magic can go down there.
I
and
know
see
I'm
what they
proficient.
do. Yeah, if you're proficient, you can roll. 17.
I'm proficient too, I believe. Yeah.
I'm going to cast detect magic, but as a ritual then.
All right, so you start chanting.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Severus, Zednius, the two of you like look at each other. You begin to babble back and forth in common. You know, like, well, maybe it's more of an abjuration. You're like, oh, transmutate, and then you guys, with your 23 and 17 respectively, you can come to one conclusion. This is abjuration magic. They're like 60-40 that it's a glyph of warding spell on every single chain, which would be 8 separate glyphs of warding spells. And since there's glyphs every, half a foot,
And glyphs of
each
warding
these,
like explode when you open them, right?
or they cast a spell.
Depends, right?
Yeah, they either explode or cast a spell.
Something very scary was in there.
Yeah, and there's a glyph of warding about every 6 inches along each of these
Glyph
chains.
of warning?
And there's 8 of them. Glyph of warding. WARDIGN.
What is that?
A glyph of warding is a 5th level, 4th level spell.
Third.
Really? Damn.
It's a
3rd level spell that can either A, make a big ass explosion akin to like a fireball that does a lot of damage, and it can do different types of damage, or it casts a spell that the user has previously decided when it's broken. Which and the conditions for when it's broken can also be defined in the casting of the spell.
Yeah, it's basically like the
Got it.
D&D magic equivalent of placing down a trap card.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah,
basically.
Okay.
You activated my trap card.
Yeah, and just doing some quick math, every 6 inches, 8 chains, around 50 of these glyphs of warding were cast in these chains.
Jesus Christ.
50.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever the fuck was in there was extremely dangerous.
And it's out.
Well, we can safely assume that they were not exploding glyphs of warding. Because if I remember correctly, someone can look me up. I think those do 10d10 damage each.
No, that's a high level glyph of warning. I think 5d it's the default, but still.
Does it look like they may have been dispelled, or does it look like they were activated?
How would you distinguish those, Yogi?
Damage versus just faded.
Oh, that's interesting. That is very interesting. I think that if you gotta examine it first, it'd be easier, but with the limited perspective of Hatagal, kind of hard to say.
What the?
I don't think they were
What is
exploding
that?
ones.
Why?
That's just someone trying to find out how many damage of 50.
Oh,
Yeah, that's a ground zero, right?
Yeah, that's a fucking nuclear explosion. Yeah. But I think you'd have to investigate closer, like with the hands-on object, Yogi. Probably detect magic in there as well.
When Hatagal went in, is there a hatch there, or is it just?
Yes, there's a hatch underneath the bed that you can pull
get
up.
in there.
Yeah, you just need to move the bed aside.
Okay.
We're just worried about him returning while someone is under the bed.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well, I'm really not sure what someone could be hiding under there that would be... Jesus, he was sleeping on whatever this was every night.
The Deadwood, are we?
How closer to the Deadwood are you?
So very, right?
I mean, I wouldn't say very. You're still in Regionova, but I don't know. It's like 40 miles, I think.
My first assumption would be it was some sort of Deadwood beast.
It's 20 miles from the woods. And the last place he was reported to going, which is the Atlian Mountains, is the opposite direction of the Deadwood.
Atlian Mountain. Oh, that's where like we think that the thing was, the Manticore was from.
Yep.
Monsters come down from those mountains.
Yeah, the Atlian Mountains are just known as like uncivilized, hellish wasteland of
probably
monsters.
Not Deadwood, but probably some monstrous thing. Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking.
It is worth noting there's no sign of the cellar door being forced from the inside. Like the trapdoor has been burst open into splinters. The bed is totally undamaged. There's no signs of like some horrible beast like crawling its way across the wooden floor, tearing it to pieces.
So it was intelligent, probably, no matter what it was.
Maybe.
Or maybe it was a person who could cast, but actually, maybe not. I'm not sure how he would have been feeding a person.
Incorporeal, and the grips were boarding were making it seize its incorporeal movement.
Well, the keg was bursted open, so I don't think it needed to be incorporeal.
As you guys
How to get it out of the
discuss,
trapdoor without moving the bed?
true. As you guys discuss and theorize, the servant knocks on the door twice, opens it up, just finds you guys talking, nothing suspicious. And behind him are two men. One of them is a standard-looking physician. He got his little spectacles, looking like a nerd, has blood on his smock on his chest. And beside him is a man in yellow, golden, gaudy robes, a standard priest of the Almighty. The master servant sort of steps aside and introduces, "This is Father Bacchus, and our local town physician, Gallius."
Nice to meet you both.
They both sort of give you nods, and the Father Bacchus sort of steps forward and says, "So, what is this all about? You said it was standard procedure, but I don't recall any incidences of suicides being investigated in the past, by judges no less."
There's certain cases specifically high profile, as you might understand.
Well, it seems rather obvious as far as I could tell. He was beside a half-emptied glass of whiskey. There's no sign of forced entry, and it seems poison could be the only factor involved.
Who's
Have
saying
you
this, the
tested
cleric or
for
the
poison?
physician?
The cleric.
Have
Did
you
you-
tested for poison?
There was no poison currently in the whiskey. I believe you may have ingested it and then washed it down.
So you have tested it.
Yes.
Would you take a
Washed it
sip?
down with what?
Looks at
Ah,
Renesmee,
yes,
just
I see
utterly
what that
fucking
whiskey.
confused, and then says, washed it down with the whiskey.
Well,
The
are
whiskey
you,
wasn't the deliberate method.
No, I don't believe so. It's not inherently poisonous on its own, other than all alcohol is.
Was there any other delivery methods found? Any syringes? Any
You didn't check his stomach?
vials?
His stomach is in the process of being investigated. We had to get the, towards the physician. We had to get the embalming fluids in as soon as possible if his body is to survive the next 2 weeks of tumult.
how certain are you that there is no poison in that glass right there?
Absolutely certain. By the will of the Almighty.
Well then, would you take a sip for us?
No, I don't like my integrity being questioned.
Well then,
By the will.
are you
by the will of
confident
the
enough to have
Almighty.
a judge take a sip of it?
Absolutely.
I'm taking a
Renesmee,
sip.
aren't you waiting for the...
Yeah,
For the
Severus,
rats.
you can
Oh,
take a sip,
no.
Severus. It's a fine whiskey. It's been purchased from Sedalia. It's a delicious vintage.
I'll put it back down and I'll say, Renesmee, this man has no point of lying to us about this whiskey being poisoned or not when he says that the person was poisoned.
All right, roll con say non. I get it.
That is on the spot. Totally getting a chance. Well,
I respect men who can stand behind their word. I think that if someone is confident enough to make an assertion, that they should be willing to prove it. I'm glad that you took a sip. Can I take it from his hand?
Yeah, sure. I don't think he's
I
gonna
already
stop
put it
you.
down.
Oh yeah.
I
sure,
take
put
a
it down.
gulp as well, and I say, "See, I do trust you." I start coughing.
Yeah, I mean, this
Yeah,
guy,
quite-
this
Then I look
father.
up and I smile.
Yeah, this priest already looks tired of all of you guys, really, and he says, "Alright, that's enough theatrics from all of you. I don't think this is routine, even for a proconsul. What are you all doing here?"
well,
Are you
Apologize,
questioning
Father.
our
He just had
integrity?
some
I am
important
questioning you. You are servants of the Almighty just as me. No man or woman is beyond reproach. And I question you while you're here. I don't trust your motives.
Of course not. Of course not. A friend of his asked us to look into it. Personal worry is all.
Who is this friend?
Simply doing a favor. Now, Father, I'm sure that you appreciate your privacy being protected just as much as he does.
He slowly nods.
I apologize for any offense that I or my fellows may have given unto you.
Yeah, he nods and says, "You're right, right. Not my duty to pry into the business of a proconsul." Well, as I said, I believe he ingested the poison. A further autopsy will reveal that once the embalming fluid has been placed. I expect to find belladonna or mandrake or some other form of ingested poison in his stomach once investigated.
That seems likely. Yes.
I've also been told by our physician friend here there are some strange markings on the throat. There are many poisons which can cause the throat to constrict when ingested. Seems further evidence of that theory.
All right.
Well, I believe that we'll have to...
When will the autopsy be completed?
You were just in the process of embalming.
And he sort of thinks for a long moment, and the physician sort of steps up and says, most likely by the end of this evening.
It can be sped up if it's needed at this exact moment. We're just trying to get the embalming fluid mixture just right.
I see. Would you mind if we simply took a brief look at the body?
Of course, as long as it's nothing too invasive.
No, nothing like that.
Of course not.
Physician nods and looks towards the priest, and the priest seems to sort of be the de facto leader, even compared to the master's servant. And the priest sort of looks at you all, narrows his eyes over Nesme, and then sort of shrugs.
You will not touch the corpse. Physician and I will handle it. Our hands have been anointed. We will not carry on the taint of the living.
Of course
Yes,
not.
well,
Of
we
course
don't
not.
plan on touching the corpse. Nothing to worry about.
This will do.
And you guys wanted to bring you back to the body in the mausoleum?
Yes.
That was a question. Okay. All right. So you guys can exit the chamber. The master servant will dutifully follow behind the
Yogi. No.
the physician and master servant will dutifully follow behind the cleric. And soon enough, you and your small procession will arrive at a mausoleum outside of the estate. It's just another piece of this massive sprawling property. It seems to be dedicated not just to the proconsul, but to his personal family, the Sextus family of Clan Bologna. And there are, just reading the out front, there's these steles, so just like sort of stone carvings in the ground depicting the names of the people stored here. And Maximus, I mean, you recognize like 3 names on this list of maybe 15 names: centurions, generals, legates, members of Clan Bologna who have delivered great victories for the Empire on many different fronts.
As we're walking down, I'll ask, are many members of Clan Bologna buried here?
The father sort of speaks as he walks a little bit out of breath.
Yes, this will be the eventual resting place of the great war hero, Consul Militum Gallenus. There are many of his predecessors buried here as well. It's far enough from the Deadwood. We do not worry about those vile enemies of the Almighty.
Absolutely not. And what would one have to do to get interred here amongst these great men of history?
A great service to the great Department of War.
I see.
And you guys are led down through the Jesus Echo. You guys are led down through the mausoleum, and you find yourself amongst various stone coffins. Each one has the illusionary image of the person in life placed atop the stone. So you see, this centurion, not as he died, but when he was a warrior, in his prime. And you see several more of these illusionary things, probably 3 of them in total. They can't afford to do this for every corpse, but eventually...
Like a hologram?
Essentially, yeah. A projected
cool.
image. And eventually you come across a stone slab upon which is the body of Proconsul Caracalla Galerius Sextus Bologna. And Maximus, I think this sort of... I won't speak for your emotion, but I will say it reminds you a lot of people that you served with. It's a proud, sort of jaw, a hard nose with signs of breakage, powerful limbs, but also scars from decades of campaigning. He was a legate, and he certainly reminds you of several you served under in the 7th Legion, because they were changed out about every year. And that sort of pride, and you would expect if he was alive, he'd be looking at you with a sneer as, just like, it's only a mere centurion. But now that he's dead, just seeing, all that like pride and ambition and just nothing replaced with nothing. I think it probably strikes a chord, though. You can correct me if I'm wrong.
Damn shame.
The father nods and leads you guys to the body. I think he just sort of shows you the body. It has been stripped of clothing. I mean, it just needs to be for the embalming process. So the master servant stayed back. It's just the medical folks and the judges. And you can see a large contraption used for the neck has already been punctured open, and embalming fluid has been pushed through the veins. The blood is already spilling out into a tray at the base of the thing. It's not a pretty process. It's fucking gross, but...
Wait, how did they do that?
Holy hell, dude.
Well, the way that they do it is you essentially put a pump, and then you press it with, like, air compression, pushing the embalming fluid into the blood vessels, expanding
you can do that with... Wait, do they do that with magic, or like how do they
it's
create
just
the
a
pressure?
normal pump of air, and then you have the a hole at the bottom of the foot, and then blood bleeds out from there into a tray. Normally, in real life, we'd use a pump, but it could also be achieved if you had the right metallurgy skills with a very powerful pump and a little bit of bravery by starting the suction.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, you put it together. What you have to do that? Yeah, it's
I know
a
that
nasty
modern machines I know how modern machines do it. I didn't know that they did that.
I don't think they did it very much historically, just because that's not really how they prepared bodies. Because embalming fluid are highly chemical, but they have alchemy, so they probably have embalming. And so.
Well, can I investigate? Can I just like not touch his neck, but I would like to, go up to the neck.
Yeah, you don't even need to
kind
get close to touching it when you see what they're talking about. Every single muscle in that neck is hard constricted. This is way more than rigor mortis. This almost looks like he was suffocated, but there's no bruises around his neck that you would see from normal suffocation. Because if someone was suffocated this aggressively, their like trachea would be collapsed. Their entire neck would just be a wall of bruises, but there's no sign of that.
But there's no bruises.
No, there's no bruises, but the entire essentially.
And his own neck muscles did this.
As far as we could tell, as you can see, there's no bruises. There's no damage to the underlying tissue. It's as if his neck collapsed in on himself. And the most viable explanation that I can see for this is poison.
Suppose that does make sense.
He nods, and even the physician, who hasn't been entirely on board with everything the father has said, sort of shrugs. I mean, he doesn't seem to have a better excuse.
I'll turn to the others. Low enough that the priest and the physician can't hear. How far away is the second estate? Anyone know?
Well, we're 20 miles from the Deadwood. That's the only.
It's like 3-4 miles. Like 3-4. Not that far.
Oh, okay. How about we go to the second estate, investigate what's going on there, and then return here once the embalming's completed and see what they find.
Are we not scared they'll tamper with the body?
I don't
I'm
see
more
why
scared
they
of
would.
what the hell was in that box. Oh. Keg.
Right.
Although, to be honest, I don't think whatever's in that box is our problem anymore. It's obviously long gone.
I mean, what else could we even get from it? It was glyphs of warding. They were broken.
Well,
Exactly.
no, you don't know
It was
that.
open.
It could have been dispelled.
True.
Am I allowed to just perception/investigation, whatever?
you-
I want to investigate the body.
Yeah, definitely perception.
Visually.
You're not allowed to touch it.
If I
Okay.
make a glyph of warding, can I dispel it without casting another spell? Can the caster
I don't think so.
disarm it? Okay.
I think it just requires a spell magic. I'm gonna double check that, but I don't think so. Like 99% sure.
Okay.
Nope. But you could actually disrupt the glyph, because the way it works is it only triggers for certain people. So you could just go in there and scratch out the glyph. Boom, you just canceled it. It's just not
Oh.
like dispel
Okay.
magic. Anyways,
So if it's if he okay, I think I get it.
Alrighty. 18. So yeah, you begin to look at this body up and down. Now, do you have a medicine proficiency, Peach?
Don't think I do. I have
don't
a
think you do either.
survival.
That is
I have
definitely
a
not.
survival, whatever it's called.
You know,
Let's
your anatomy
see.
buddy, that guy would be really handy here. But
I have an
Yeah.
anatomy book on us.
yeah.
that
But no,
be
looking
handy?
at the body, frankly, while you know they're wrong because you saw that thing break out below, like they don't have that information,
Yeah.
so obviously they don't include that in their hypothesis. But if you didn't know about that thing underneath the bed, you'd be like, I mean, they're right. Like the throat is totally constricted. The blood vessels around there are like varicose and tight. Like, sorry, not varicose. They're vascular. They're very, very tightened. And like pressed to the surface of the neck. You're not super familiar with poisons, but it could totally just be he ingested poison, went through his throat, activated there, suffocated him to death. A horrible way to kill yourself. You have no idea why anyone would ever choose that, but I mean, it's not infeasible.
Have you guys ever seen anything like this before?
Who are you asking that?
To the physician.
The physician shakes his head very thoroughly, like, absolutely not.
Have you investigated poisonings before?
The physician shakes his head.
No?
Yeah, he has not.
Ah, I see. So
The father
poisonings
sort of
are
looks towards you and
rare.
says,
But I have. Empires such as
Ah.
these, where lesser men try to advance through political wrangling, poisonings are not rare. It has all the signs of one. Using them. Self-poisoning, anyways. They're easy to get a hold of enough if you know the right people.
I
Department
see.
of Civility.
What?
Oh,
Why did he laugh at the Department of Civility?
I wouldn't worry about it. He's just,
How
he's
about-
throwing shade.
how about we
It's not
return
just-
once the autopsy is completed? Get the results. If it's, if you find poison in his system, all well and good. We can conclude the whole thing there.
He nods.
But isn't
there-
it possible that this poison he ingested was what was very delayed, and he ingested it long before he entered this room and drank that whiskey?
He thinks for a moment.
Why would a man kill himself by poison? It's so much easier with so many other ways, and poison's expensive to come by.
I do not disagree with you. I can see the rationale, and that is a possibility. Perhaps something he consumed in the mountains, but he reported no discomfort, said nothing of a ill bowel, spoke nothing of eating anything but the rations he was provided, as the master servant told me. And as for
Provided by who?
provided by the household, the master servant, those in his employ. As for suicide, well, there are a great many reasons people choose to leave the Almighty's light, and for many of them they see no alternative. Any method, no matter how heinous, can be viewed as the only way to escape this loop and head into his tranquiline halls. It would not be my method of choice, but am I to judge?
Did he
What
have?
would your method of choice be?
I would die in my sleep, be moved to the tranquiline halls once my service on earth is done.
Pretty sure
he
dying in your
have
sleep is a
nightmares?
suicide, but
Can't be.
Did he have nightmares of any kind? Was he irritable, antsy? Seemed like
Paranoid?
he didn't trust very many people. Paranoid.
As far as the widow, the master servant said, he was no more paranoid than was warranted by his position.
Did he have any projects going on?
I believe he was looking to become a consul, a governor.
Was he unhappy with the current governor?
I'm not even from this estate, and even I know that. He would come to Rivinium perhaps every month or so, petition the emperor to replace the governor with himself, and the experience and the credentials needed the current consul to slip up.
Ah, I see.
So he was looking for evidence of a slip-up? Is that how he was working, or...?
I could not say. I only know their political disagreement ran deep, but certainly nothing enough to cause this. Even our esteemed governor knows you can't kill a man in cold blood like this and get away with it.
well, with poisoning and the right connections,
There was no sign of a
the
struggle.
governor could.
Well, would there be a sign of a struggle if something was poisoned?
If it was forced upon him, unless you think one of his servants has been corrupted, in which case, you should speak with them.
Perhaps we
This
should.
might be a weird question, but does he smoke?
He thinks for a moment.
I don't believe so. That may be a question for the master servant. I think the only vice he engages in is alcohol.
Making sure that there's no other way he could have been laced with poison.
You see
Unknowingly.
him. You see this priest go and sort of lift up the hands of him and inspect his thumbs and index fingers on both hands, and he sort of shrugs.
I believe it to just be alcohol.
Yeah.
Well, shall we return once the autopsy is completed?
Yes.
The priest nods and will bid
Alright
you
then.
on your way.
Shouldn't we search the... Whatever.
So you guys exit the mausoleums. The master servant is up there and says, "Well,
Do you need further guiding around the property? Is there anyone else you'd like to speak with? Or can we finally dot this I and consider this checkup done?
Oh, you're the master servant. He's the master servant, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Who is the one responsible for the meals that are delivered to?
Well, our
the master
cook on the property. Of course, I review any food and our food taster, make sure that it's to the tastes of our master and missus.
You're a food taster.
You have a food taster.
Yes.
How's he doing?
He's fine. Good health.
Okay. And he tasted his meal last night.
The master didn't eat. He only ate the rations he took with him to the mountains.
And the rations were provided by whom?
By himself.
But where did he get them?
He killed the animals and created them. He was a bit of a, as I said, an avid
foraged
hunter.
them.
No, I don't mean that. I mean, he killed the boars, turned them into beef jerky, and took them back with him to the mountains.
Yes. That's what I meant.
Right.
When you say rations, I just assumed prepackaged dried meat and nuts.
As I said, he grew testy about those sorts of things. Wouldn't even accept a tent, much less food we prepared for him.
Understandable. Do you think there's is there even a slight chance that in those rations? Yeah, but can we take a look at his rations? Maybe there was some kind of berry in there, something that he foraged that happened to be poisonous that he confused for another type.
He shrugs, and you can tell he thinks this whole line of questioning is flawed. But I mean, he's not going to argue with judges. So we'll take you guys to these stables. There's a large cart in there. Sorry, actually, it'd be a 1-horse cart because he wouldn't want to take too much. Take you to the 1-horse cart. It's about 1/3 of the way full, with the bare necessities for survival. Like even a legionnaire would take more. Literally just blanket, bedroll, ration, water. That's it.
Yeah, he really went out there with nothing.
Yeah, for weeks.
Jesus Christ.
And so, yeah, I mean, you guys can start unpacking the food. It is genuinely way better rations than you guys have. It's pemmican. I don't know if you know what that is. Basically, just dried meat and berries packed into this fucking powder that is some of the most nutrient dense shit on the planet. It doesn't taste good, but when you mix it with water, you can make a nice stew. And in terms of calorie density, it's way better than the shit you guys have. It's like a quarter pound for a day's worth of rations. So he seems to be a very proficient survivalist in all things related to that. And if you wanted to, you could start picking out individual berries and seeing if they're poisoned. But just on first glance, he doesn't seem like the type of person who make that simple of a mistake.
Got it. Are we able to just take one of the rations? I'd like to bring it back to the cleric and the physician to get them to check for poison.
Yeah, sure you can.
Awesome.
Only because you already saw the keg. You notice there is a depression in the back of this cart where the sheer weight of the keg actually pushed several of the boards that it was resting on down. The keg was once stored in this cart, probably for a substantial amount of time.
And it was also really heavy then.
Yeah, and it warped the wood.
Oh, God. We can see, that circular warp.
Yeah, if you didn't know what you were looking for, just be I don't know, it's just fucking age. But now you know, exactly what it looked like. Zednius described it, so you're that's definitely, it was here at one point.
Yeah, I look up at the master servant. Did any of the servants accompany him on this last adventure?
No, of course not.
I see.
No one accompanied him for the whole time.
We can't, as I said.
Yeah, yes, of course. Is there? Does he keep any journal where he goes, what he sees?
No. I'm sorry, I wish I could be more helpful, but he likes to simply remove himself from civilized society. I'm sure you've all felt that calling at one time or another.
Sure. When he arrived,
Of course.
what was the first thing he did? Who tended to the horses?
Well, our stable boy tended to the horse, brought it inside. It looked like it had been run ragged. Then I helped unpack the things he brought back from the mountains, the carcasses, the keg.
The keg.
Yes?
What do you know about the keg?
Large steel keg. Didn't mention where he got it from. I assumed he traded for it with one of the communities between here and the mountains.
Why would he want a keg?
I don't know. It's not my duty to ask my master why he grabs certain items.
Of course, but if you had to speculate, let's say.
It was fine craftsmanship, a beautiful piece of jewelry. It was riveted together. I don't know why you'd ever use it for an actual keg.
No
You'd have to tap
chains?
through the metal. Chains?
Oh, I'm sorry, I must have confused this.
No, yeah, nothing like that. It was a beautifully crafted keg. I'd say dwarvish in construction. Though perhaps that's my prejudice speaking.
How long ago did he return?
He returned 2 days ago. The night before his sort of lets it stay silent.
Did you help unload this keg?
Yes, me and another one of the servants. Whenever the master gets home, he wants to keep things efficient and quiet.
What was inside the
it
keg?
heavy?
It's very heavy, and inside it, I'm not sure.
Was there something inside it?
I don't.
Did you feel the movement of the sloshing of wine or liquor or
No,
your
actually.
clinking?
No, not at all.
I don't think it would have been used for alcohol making.
Well, I'm
it's
not
not.
sure.
Course. Usually wooden barrels are used for that, for the taste.
It
Yeah,
was
so you
heavy,
get the
but
flavor-
because it was
flavor
metal.
of the wooden barrel.
Ah,
I don't think the flavor of a wooden or of a metal keg is very tasty.
so the
But-
weight made sense because it's a metal
Who
keg.
might have known?
Of course, and it didn't seem to have any liquid in it. I believe it was empty, such as me thinking it was an ornamental piece.
Ah, makes
Makes
sense.
Why did you have you bring it?
The cellar. It should still be there now.
Can we go see it?
Of course. And he guides you guys to a sort of trapdoor that leads into the side of the home, leads you down into a wine cellar, which connects back into the building. There's many kegs and wines here, all of which ludicrously expensive. Simple stuff, like the thing he was drinking, which is Sedalian whiskey. Also, my eye-wateringly expensive stuff, like Vorn Mountain Ale, which hasn't been made for 4 years and will never be made again because all the dwarves there are dead.
Aw.
So he'll guide you through these many things, and eventually he'll bring you to a spot that is clearly empty, and he'll look at it for a few seconds. Look around. You see him beginning to look around the whole cellar. He points towards the spot. It was here, just 2 nights ago when I put it, and he just begins to do a full 360 swivel around the area.
Is there any reason why someone would have moved it?
Without the express permission of our master, I can't think so.
Could he have possibly moved it?
It was heavy. I mean, he was a strong man. I suppose it's not too much that one person could carry it on their own.
Then where would he have put it?
I don't know.
Was your master... Did he ever solicit any services from spellcasters
Well, of course.
recently?
I believe a couple of months ago, he renewed the aura of rejuvenation on him and the mistress.
What is that?
Would make them stop aging, right?
Not exactly, but it makes them appear to stop aging.
Ah, I see. Is it possible to speak with his wife?
I don't
That
think that'd
may
be all
be-
right.
A bit excessive.
The lady is still grappling with his death. I wouldn't like to bring her all of this until we can prove something concrete.
No, of course not.
Oh, of course, yes.
Look at Renesmee.
I was just wondering
the
if we
master
could
servant-
speak with her.
Yeah, the master servant sort of scratches his head and says, "Well, I'm afraid I can't help you more." Is there
Oh yeah,
anything
one
else?
last incidental question. Does he smoke?
Who?
Your master, did he smoke when he was
Oh.
alive?
No, not as far as I was aware.
Alright. That's it then. Thank you,
All right.
and we're very sorry for your loss.
Nods. And he can take you guys back to your horses out on posts out front of the estate.
Well, we'll be returning once the autopsy is complete, so I suppose we will see you in the...
Will you be
Days
staying
time
the
or so?
night?
No, I don't
I'm
think
what
so.
time is it?
It's you guys left an hour after messing around a bit. It's 30.
Ah,
Yeah, probably not.
you know.
Okay, then yeah,
Don't believe so.
he'll just nod and go back to organizing the vast taking of stuff out of the house and putting it out. And you guys can ride out of this place and head towards the Podunk Village to the north, which is what I was originally mentioned. So, Lars, you're not the biggest investigator. You're more of a, walk up to your problem, boom, boom, in the face. And, this senator's been dragging you along in all these different missions about, go and be stealthy there, go and, investigate this thing. How does Lars feel about this? Does he feel like his skills are being underutilized? Is he happy to not have to work and fight for his life?
He just has a free job right now, basically, so he doesn't care as much.
Okay.
He
so
just
not
gets
much.
to spend time with Gore.
That's true. He's been getting a lot of quality time with Gore. Well, you guys press on from this estate out towards this little Podunk village. There is no mass farming community around here. It is instead a couple of farming areas. Since there's a decent amount of woodland as you get closer to the foothills, there's logging camps and things like that. You even see a mine off the road. But it's not until you ride for about another 30 minutes that you arrive at this small little village. The village is generous. It's literally 6 buildings. One of them is a farm with a pasture of sheep, cows, and horses separated, several large barns. And it seems as if what is a village, as you look at it more, is probably just the complex of one single farming family. Or maybe families that all live in the same area. But it's cozy enough.
Well, I suppose we should go up to it.
Yeah, I mean, there's people tending to the horses. There's people organizing the sheep from one pasture to the next. There's folks who are tending to what little fields there are. It doesn't seem like anyone's in charge, nor is there a greeting party of a master servant waiting for you.
Well, then I guess we just trot in and see who comes to greet us, if anyone.
Yeah, I mean, if you guys begin to trot towards the house, no one's gonna people will look at you and be like, oh, that's kind of weird, but no one's gonna stop what they're doing to go speak with you.
Okay. I'm fine with that. Are you guys fine with that?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, your group of 5 horses arrive outside the estate. It's a single farmhouse. There's several other additions. There's a barn and all the other stuff. And no one seems in a rush to greet you. People just seem busy with their work, though you can see the sign of people inside the house, shadows moving past windows, probably people just going about their daily business, cleaning shit.
Should we knock?
Probably a good idea.
Alright, I knock.
Alright, you hop off your horse, climb to the door, give it a hearty knock, and large man opens the door. He's maybe 5'10", and the time living on the farm is really, beefing him up. So he opens up the door, he's in the process of wiping at his forehead with a cloth, and he looks at the 5 of you. You're judges.
Yes, is this the estate of Marcellius Vesnius Cicero? Queso.
You were sent by the old senator.
I narrow my eyes. Why would you think that?
We asked for him to send you.
Oh, well, in that case, we're all on the same page, huh? Nice to meet you.
No, I'll go fetch my brother. He's the one that wanted this to be dealt with anyways.
All right.
He closes the door in your face and walks away. And in a quiet, you guys sort of tap your feet, look around. Some of the farm hands glance at you, but mostly continue their work. And the door opens again. This time, it's an older man. He has a large beard on his face, and he got some red eyes. He's been crying, he's sobbing, and he sort of looks at you all and says, "So, you were the judges they sent?"
Yes, indeed we are. It's a pleasure to meet you. And you are?
He shakes your hand with a big, meaty hand. I'm Quintus. My father was the one pushed from the barn roof.
I see.
And he sort of walks past you guys and sort of awkwardly shambles past you and begins to lead you towards a barn. He's moving at a bit of a peppy pace. It's a barn that's still under construction. Not all the roofing has been completed. And he points up towards it, and you see that there's this impression in the grass, and it is pretty obvious what fell in pretty hard at that exact location. And he points towards the impression in the grass. That's where it happened.
I know this was difficult, but are you able to give kind of a full account of what happened?
Yep. All right. So I was here, and he was up on the roof adding
new tiles to prevent rainwater from getting in. You see, point is, he was adding new tiles, and there's gusts of wind around here, nothing too bad. We keep him tethered to the roof for this exact reason. He get pushed off, you fall about 10 feet, smack into the side of a barn, he'll be fine. And as he was there, he said there was this huge gust of wind. You know, it practically knocked him off his feet, but he remained standing. Tether did its job. Climbed back up to the roof, started adding back another tile. And then something pushed him. I don't know how else to describe it. It wasn't a gust of wind. Something pushed into his shoulder, snapped his tether, and then, you know.
Say the force of the push snapped the tether?
Right off. He sort of he almost like panically looks around, and then he finds it, and he grabs some stuff from that's been stored at the edge of the barn. It's 2 thick ass pieces of rope, like the hempen rope you guys use, and it's been snapped like just by force shearing it.
Well, like just out of, I'm not like a rope smith, but out of like just common knowledge, how much would it take to snap something like that?
Hempen rope is weighted to hold 100 pounds, so to snap it that cleanly, you're talking thousands, tens of thousands of pounds of force.
Oh, wow.
Might have been whatever he had under the bed that got out.
And the I know this is rough, but the impact of the ground killed him?
I mean, I don't know. It was all so fast. I guess I didn't get a chance to ask.
Because a rope like this requires an ungodly amount of force to snap it clean.
I just saw him standing there. He was looking fine. He was hammering in the panel, and then his shoulders just rocketed backwards. His feet were just fine. It couldn't have been wind, and then he just... Fine.
And you notice the impression on the grass is like 40 feet away from the roof of this barn. He wasn't just like pushed, he was fucking catapulted.
Ah.
Huh.
And you didn't feel a gust of wind either?
When the first gust of wind happened, I felt a little bit, but, you know, up there on the roof of the barn, there's no trees protecting from wind, so it's like, I don't know, 70... it's stronger up there, so even when the first gust happened, I didn't really feel much, and when the second thing happened, I didn't feel anything. That's why I told the old senator it was an invisible man. I don't know what else it could be.
I'm not sure, but we will get to the bottom of this.
And I mean, I know the wind's bad around here. And, you know, there's windstorms up north, and some of the farmhands around here think I'm going crazy. It was just a bad gust of wind. But it just couldn't have been.
This impression is about 40 feet away from the barn. It would have taken a great deal of force, perhaps a tornado, to bring him all the way over here. And this rope, it would take hundreds, if not thousands of pounds to snap something so cleanly.
He sort of scratches his head and says, like, a bit sheepishly, and says, I know, and I told that to everyone else, but, you know, when you're this close to the mountains, things like this, they're not impossible. You know, to the north, there's several villages that have reported windstorms leveling entire buildings. You know, there was the Cedar farm, a whole barn, flipped 90 degrees. So, you know, we've been having some crazy wind around here recently. So it's not unheard of, but it wasn't just wind. I know it wasn't wind.
Surely you would have felt it as well, if it was just wind.
Yes, and wind isn't this precise. Wind would have destroyed tiles off of the building, right?
I completely agree. And, you know, they say that the shrieking winds up north and the ones that flip houses, those are the same, but they're just not.
Well, do you have any ideas as to what it could be? You said an invisible man.
I mean, something pushed him.
It'd have to be much stronger than a regular man.
Yeah, maybe.
What time was it you saw?
I want to start casting Detect Magic.
Yeah, you can start doing that. He's like so... Normally people will be like kind of weirded out when you start sitting on the ground doing your rituals, but he's like so zoomed in he doesn't even notice that. And he says, it was just after dusk. We were just doing some final panels.
Are there any... I know this is so strange to ask, but any old fables or tales of monsters around here? Perhaps invisible monsters, more specifically?
Invisible monsters? I don't know about nothing. But monsters, of course there is. And we're this close to the mountains, practically everyone has a story about how they seen something, and they swear it's some terrible beast come down to kill them.
Anything that you think, I don't know, might be noteworthy for us to investigate?
Nothing invisible.
Hmm.
I mean, the
And
wind
you had
recently
good
has been
sight.
strange, but I don't know how that relates to anything. It's just strange wind.
Strange.
Like I said, it's really strong. I mean, it's flipping barns and tipping over carts and ruining villages.
Certainly be strong enough to knock him off.
Perkin, do I know a spell? Would I know if like gust would be strong enough to break that rope? And
Gust of
'cause it
wind would
be...
probably just push him off the roof of the thing, not even close to this level of destruction, especially with the additional stuff he's describing, flipping barns and shit. Gust of wind could never.
Has any of this
like
wind
a gust
been
of wind strong
extremely
enough to
precise?
flip a whole barn. Couldn't do it.
Well, I missed parts of the description.
What'd you ask, Peach?
Has the wind ever been known to be extremely precise? For example, only targeting a very specific area, such as flipping a barn, but everything around it is completely undisturbed by the wind, or something like that.
Yeah. There was a cart over what was it called? Tidalia. Over at Tidalia, they had a cart. It picked up, flipped. So when were you? 180 degrees, slam into the ground, and obviously driver didn't make it too good often.
It slammed into.
How recent was this?
Into the ground.
How recent was it? I think it was. Sorry, it was yesterday. I'm just trying to remember the time. I heard about it. Would have been late last night.
So this happened after he died.
Yeah.
Anything happened today?
Yeah, that's when the barn flipped a few tons over. Half my workmen are over there helping them repair it.
A whole barn flipped.
Yeah, that's what I said earlier.
Jesus Christ.
And it was a gust of wind. So, did anyone else feel this wind, or did they just observe it?
I don't know. I wasn't there speaking with the fellows over there. I just know
Have
they
you
don't
heard
got a
anything
barn
from
no
the
more.
cart?
Well, I mean, the driver's dead, obviously. Everything's destroyed to shit.
Ah.
I mean, the cart, did on it.
Well, I look over at my comrades. Perhaps it would be useful to go and investigate the cart and the barn before we continue. And I try to grab them hurriedly to go and talk in another place away from this man.
Yeah, you guys can leave him. He'll just head back to the barn. Or sorry, the barn, the large farmhouse. And you guys can find it a moment away. None of these like workers are really, gawking or anything, so you can really find a quiet place.
All right, here's the issue. This man was clearly somehow murdered by an invisible something, whether it was wind or an animal. Now, I think that perhaps something escaped the keg, yes, maybe something invisible, who knows, but it seemed to be very, very powerful, right? Now, hold on, just follow me now. So, this man gets pushed by something invisible and very, very powerful. And then, yesterday, a cart is picked up, thrown 180, and someone dies inside of it, right? And it's also invisible. And today, a barn is flipped. Now, I think there might be an invisible gremlin walking around and flipping things and killing people, so I feel as though we should find this thing and make sure that it dies a very quick death.
All right, what's your plan?
Have I heard of a creature that can do this?
What?
Yes,
what?
that's
What was
the
that?
question. How do we find it?
Oh,
That was, yeah.
Well, if it's casting itself to be invisible, maybe Severus's detect magic will see something. Outside of that, we could... I don't know. We'd have to stake out the place is the only idea I have. But if it's invisible, how much good that's going to do. We could start setting traps.
We could investigate the body of this senator to see if it has any of the similar signs of death as the
That's true.
as
We
the
could check
last
his
one.
throat.
I'm
Yes.
not
Yeah, I
sure
don't
if
think
the
his throat's
method of death would be different. But I mean, we could see if there are any commonalities. If in one murder, I'm really not quite sure.
I'm just gonna save you the thing. If someone gets thrown 40 feet from the roof of a thing with so much force it snaps that rope, you're talking like a bag of like. You're not gonna be able to get any interesting analysis from this.
That
Think it's like getting in a car accident, but you're not. There's no car around you to take all the force. You're just slamming against the ground full speed.
The thing that troubles me is that if this is the same beast or monster or whatever it might be that killed the first senator, they were killed very differently. It seems as though, at least. The first senator looked asphyxiated somehow, but this one was thrown. It could just be a beast of multiple, strengths. But nonetheless, we should try and see if this theory holds true.
Do I have a working idea of a monster that could be small enough to fit in a keg and strong enough to flip a barn?
Yes, that narrows it down.
What?
A grown-up Het Hagal.
A literal god.
I like any amorphous jelly. There's tons of things that can fit in small spaces. It has nothing like any traditional humanoid, unless they have magic, probably can't do this. Yeah, like none of the big monsters you think of, like none of the shit like Manticore, I don't know.
Right, they wouldn't fit in the keg.
Yeah, none of those would. Actually, they would. They just wouldn't be able to break out and then get out of the cellar without leaving a mark. So, just like Heko said, because they got out of there without leaving any destruction, then maybe, but they broke their way out of the keg, so it sort of indicates they shattered their way out. So yeah, it has to be something that either incorporeal or capable of squeezing through a really, 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 really tiny space.
Or teleporting. And the keg was somehow inhibiting that.
Yeah, teleporting and invisible, or incorporeal, or capable of being very small. And invisible during all.
Well, invisible wouldn't necessarily help because it would still have to move the bed. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
the invisibility is just like, it has to be that. It's not that it's like helps them in any way. Because everyone that has talked about it has reported just a gale, you know. So, did we want to follow Renesmee's example and go to the cart and the barn, or do we want to go back to the estate?
We could follow Renesmee's example.
Alrighty, so which do we want to go to first? The flipped over barn or the 180 crushed cart? Barn. Alright.
Yo, Hakon, is this area known for, like, elementals?
Frankly, the entire world's known for elementals. The only place that has, like, a specifically higher concentration than other places is really fucking far away from here. But, yeah, I mean, the whole world has elementals. They're just not very, common.
Right.
Well, would you even be able to trap an elemental in a keg?
By the way, did my detect magic
magical one
ever do anything?
No.
Right,
Like,
even if it was from really far away, you could have transported it.
Like I walk up to the building, and if the roof is like really high, I'll scale up the building.
Yeah, you can climb a ladder and all that stuff. No, there wouldn't be any magic here.
All right.
So yeah, Ethan supported the idea of going to investigate the flipped over barn. So you already heard about the village Tidalia from the farmer, so you can get on horseback and begin to ride towards there. You're going to have to follow local signs and probably stop to ask some people, but you'll be led to this tiny little hamlet of Tidalia, and this town is wrecked. They only mention the flipped over barn because that's the most spectacular thing, which it is. This barn, from its very foundation, has been lifted up and tilted 90 degrees, and I mean, the exact mechanism of it, you're unsure, but the end result is this barn is flipped 90 degrees. There's tons of earth attached to the bottom, like stone foundation that this whole thing was built on, but 90-degree flip. The rest of the town, though, did not come off much better. The roof tiling of almost every single building in this town has been peeled off and just splattered across like open fields. There's a couple of dead livestock. You see a cow impaled on the top of a tree, like it was lifted 80 feet in the air, slammed down onto the tree, skewered through. Just signs of utter mayhem. Like, this is a town that looks like it just got hit by a hurricane, and yet the nature around the town, trees, rocks, things like that, show no sign of damage. And the people of the town are not even remotely paying attention to you guys. You watch as about probably around 80 people are trying to flip this barn back over, which is an impossible task. They're never going to be able to do it, but they're at least trying.
I'm sure Lars can do it. He's so strong.
Yeah, true. Just flip the 150,000 pound barn, probably more, millions of pounds, probably.
Surely Lars could do it.
But yeah, none of the townsfolk are even remotely paying attention to the 5 judges sitting on the edge of the clearing.
4 judges.
Yeah.
Well,
But
What to do?
Fraud, I don't know. Investigate around, ask people what happened.
Is my detect magic still active?
10 minutes. It'd be you got like a minute left on it.
I'll just like quickly run around to the barn.
Yeah, you ride around the property on horseback. People shoot. A couple of people recognize you and shoot you weird glances, like seeing just like a random person riding through the area. But they return to focusing on the barn. And maybe one person sees your judge symbol, and that leads to a single representative of maybe the town, walking over to you guys.
My judge symbol. That's interesting.
Not you, but the other folks. She has a sweat on her brow, clearly been working all day, and she sort of approaches you guys. She seems not annoyed, more so just like kind of business-like. Like she wants to resolve whatever the fuck this is pretty quickly. So she jogs over to you guys and says, "What's up?"
Investigating what happened here.
Barn flipped. Bad wind.
Bad wind.
She looks at you. Yeah, bad wind.
You ever seen wind like this before?
My father spoke about it. It was like descending from the heavens, unleashing hurricanes on small villages, ripping into shreds. If his stories are even half true, seems like we came out all right. Only one flip barn.
And bad wind did this to the rest of the town too?
Aye, all the same wind. Yeah, we got lucky. We only lost our roofs. Up in the north, they lost a whole family. Single building. Roof caved in. Something slammed into it. Storm.
Recent.
Yeah, a couple hours ago. They asked us for help in repairing their village.
Up north, but close to here.
I mean, at that point, you're basically in the foothills and mountains. But yeah, up north.
How close is it?
Maybe a 45-minute ride for fellas like you with nice horses.
I look to the other people at the rest of the party and say, maybe we should go there first. Whatever this is seems to be moving from point A to point B.
Yes, I agree.
Moving in a direction, like if we mapped it out, is it going
everyone that you've encountered has said north.
Right, so we ride north, huh?
Yes, immediately. Let's go.
As you guys ride, I think you were sort of cluing in on something. Yogi, roll me an intelligence check just to see if Denise can put,
Oh no, my intelligence is low.
Hell.
No. I have good wisdom.
Het Hagal is
I
in a
never
different place
used
right
this.
now, okay? Mentally.
And physically.
He just had a John McCain moment earlier, so he's, recovering.
Oh, oops.
Why are you rolling saves?
Sorry, I didn't mean to.
What are you doing, Renesmee? What are you doing?
That's one on the cloak.
No, I mean, basically, you were on the right track. Like, I mean, Yogi, the person, can think about it, but Zenius doesn't have some flash of brilliance. So you guys are riding along the road, headed northward. And it is along this road that the flipped cart is. It's been moved off to the side of the road, but Jesus Christ, it is a grisly scene. Like, it looks like, again, this has nothing to do with, like, what actually mechanically happened, but in terms of the wind and all that stuff. But what it looks like happened is something lifted this straight up from the ground, flipped it, and just slammed it into the earth full strength. Because this thing is splattered. Like, there's blood, obviously, but it's not just the blood, it's the timber. Like, the timber is splattered into a dozen shards. There are trees 30 feet off into the tree line with large shards of wood, like splinters as big as your fist, embedded into them. This thing was, like, annihilated against the ground. The bottom half of the cart, because that was up in the air, is intact, but the part of the cart that was slammed into the earth is just smushed. The corpses have been moved, but the blood is still there.
Well, that's terrifying.
But you continue north, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes, we do.
You continue to ride north, and a rain begins. And as a gust of wind cuts through the trees, I think all of you, having heard all these crazy stories, I'm guessing you have a level of paranoia when you begin to hear the whistling sound of a gust.
Yeah.
Luckily, after a few moments, it dies down. But this is just a windy region, but also close one. And you guys continue along this trail leading northward, right? The cobblestone turns to dirt. The woman may have underestimated how far this place was. 45 minutes, 3 hours, it's all in perspective.
Oh my god.
And you guys have now been riding for an hour. This dirt road shows no sign of ending and continues to push north. And when she said foothills, she really meant foothills. Some of these inclines are starting to climb to like 3 degrees, 4 degrees, 5 degrees. You can see the mountains, like they're growing in your periphery. You've basically been riding a whole day at this point, not just here, but like in contribution with your ride to the original estate and out to here. You're maybe like, you don't have a great mental like geography just because you don't have a map in front of you, but you're probably like at the very edge of the mountains themselves.
Damn.
And you continue to ride north. And then...
Wait, you don't have a map?
Nope.
All right.
What will
We should
we do?
rectify that as soon as we go shopping again.
No,
Get a
I'm
map
not
and a
sure.
compass, Jesus.
Good idea.
I'm not sure what we're going to do. Even if we do encounter this wind.
Elemental? That's my
Yes, well,
current theory.
if it's an elemental, I'm not sure what we'll do. And if it's just, I don't know, a storm.
We could at least get an idea. Well, we could report it back.
I suppose so.
We may
We
not
could try
be
to kill
powerful
it,
enough to
but
handle
like, yeah. I kind of like the idea of, surviving, so maybe we should.
I wouldn't like to die. I saw that cow get skewered, and I don't want to be next.
You could turn into a cow to bait it.
Oh, what a great idea.
I think it gets baited by
Instant
like.
death, fuck us.
Maybe if we announce that we're senators, they'll come for us.
I think it's rather indiscriminate.
That's based.
Perhaps, but who knows?
I like your creativity, Peach.
Yeah.
You guys continue to follow this road, and soon enough, it opens up. Not a lot. At this point, you're starting to get in such rural parts of the Empire that opening up just means there's like a couple of trees cut down, period. And here, you see a tiny settlement. 4 buildings. A lumber mill, camp for lumber workers. Looks to be maybe a halfway house / inn / literally doesn't matter because you're so far out in the boonies, it's just a place where people sleep. And then, further away from the rest of this, there is a single building. And it looks like a fucking comet just like slammed into that building. There's no impact crater, but the house has just been scattered. Like, you see timbers literally like 300 feet away and just blood. Just like it. I mean, they said a whole family was in there, and it shows by the, I think it's like 4 quarts per body. So, just splatter across the entirety of the house. Like something came from the fucking heavens and just rocketed to kill that one family in particular. And the people of this town are gathered about 200 feet away from that house, so about 800 feet away from you, and they are all looking at that house, and you can tell they see something because their eyes are all tracking something, but from the distance you are at, you just see a house. And then you hear it. Shrieking wind. Actually deafening. Like, it doesn't quite pop your eardrums or you'd be making saves, but it is so loud that you have to cover your ears as the shrieking wind goes through the area. You don't feel... the wind doesn't hurt you, it doesn't pull you towards it, but it's just so loud, and then it subsides after a few seconds, and the town just seems horrified and enamored by whatever is in that ruin of a building.
Well, I think we found what's been doing it.
Yep.
I
Do we
suppose
make our way in now?
Shall we
Recklessly?
go have a look?
I suppose so.
Lead the way.
Once you guys get closer to the crowd, most of the crowd is just looking in front of them, obviously. I mean, Jesus Christ, like, what is the thing? And all the questions that you guys have, but it's their own town. But one of the members of the group sort of glances back and seems to notice these 4, 5 strangers coming to their village. So this older man will come to you. He looks shell-shocked, frankly. He doesn't even look like scared or anything. He just looks at you guys and says, what are you doing here?
Well, we're here to investigate that.
He looks at it, and from this distance, you still just see an empty house, and he nods and says, you know what it is?
We're thinking perhaps some sort of elemental or air creature?
Sure, I guess, whatever you say. It killed. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he just sort of walks it back to the crowd, and there's this line. It's a hard line. Like, once you get to 200 feet, which is where this whole crowd is lined up on, you see it. And you take a step back, and it disappears, and you look again, and you just see it. It's just this line where 1 second, there's nothing in that house. And then the next second, you see a creature. It almost looks like normal air. And in fact, you can barely see it, but there's this single chain wrapped around its body, made of mithril, similar to the ones that were back at the keg. And every glyph on it is bright, like almost looks hot to the touch. Bright teal, so bright that you actually have to squint to even look at the creature being contained by it. And every one of these seals seems to be almost constraining the creature. Its body fights against them, and you see as it's like tugging at this chain with its hands, but the wind of its body passes right through it. And it's with that wind they're even able to see the form in the first place. Yeah? What'd you say?
How far away were?
How far away? You guys are at exactly 200 feet, which is the edge of where you can even see this creature to begin with. And it's not that big. In fact, it seems like it's actually actively shrinking in size. Just in the brief time you've been watching it, its hands have gone from these sort of oven mitts to just a little bit smaller. And it's hard to say, like, how quickly this process has been going, but it certainly seems to be getting weaker and weaker by every passing second, though it's still a horrible force. Every time it screams and its jaw opens wide, that horrible shrieking fills this entire open clearing, and everyone in the town is forced to cover their ears. When its hand gestures, wooden timbers go flying from the ruins of the house, and the corpses of the family are still underneath where it struck them.
Do I know anything about elementals at all? I know that druids and elementals, like, kind of go together.
Yes, it was an a spirit of an elemental that gave you your magic in the first place. I think genuinely you would view them as, actually, I'll let you do your own interpretation, but the way that society views them is as primordial forces. They're not gods, they're not demons, they're not evil. They're literally just, like, definitionally neutral. They are animals of instinct, and a very, very small number of them are intelligent. The vast majority of them, though, just live by instinct and, like an animal, but they're very fucking scary.
I see. Do they speak common?
No, they speak primordial.
Would I know anything of that, given that I'm a druid?
You speak druidic, which would work on some sentient elementals, but for non-sentient animalistic ones, there's just no chance.
So this one appears to be non-sentient animalistic.
I mean, how would you know? You haven't tried to talk to it yet.
Okay, well then, I suppose I'll just take a few steps forward, but I will be like, hands up and like very respectful of its space. And in druidic, I will yell, Elemental, we know that you're in pain. Can we help you? Is there anything we can do to help you?
Yeah, the air elemental, one of its empty, open sockets stares at you. And for a moment, you think you're getting through to it. It's looking back at you. It at least recognizes that you're there. Then its maw opens, and this horrible, ear-piercing screech fills the clearing. It's even louder than the ones before, and you feel your head vibrating. The pain is so intense, but it subsides. The creature can't scream like that forever, and it looks furious. It is now just obliterating the bodies underneath it, in one hand smashing into the corpse of a small girl, blood splattering into mist all around the area. What strength this creature has left, it is determined to annihilate everything within arm's reach. It seems to be chained to its current location, though.
I don't think it liked that.
We need to kill it, right?
I think that the glyphs on it is killing it. Yes.
You can tell slowly, but shrinking.
It's such a shame.
Is it?
We're going to cut to Severus. So while you guys are at the main crowd, the whole crowd is staring at you guys as you approach this beast. Severus, you moved off to the side. Roll me a stealth check as you try to get closer to this creature. And you're getting within 80 feet. Is that a yes, Echo?
It has disadvantage. Yes.
Okay. So you can't approach from the right.
Disadvantage on perceiving me.
Yep. Yeah, so you can't approach from the right because there's a ruined house there. But the left, front, and right will all work. Left, front, and back. So you can't approach from the front, obviously. So that sort of leaves you the left and the back. Now, if you approach from the left, there are a couple bushes to hide behind once you get closer, but there's going to be a solid 100 feet of just open ground you have to walk across. Whereas from the back, there are some fields and stuff, but it's also going to obscure your shot. So I don't know what your goal here is. If you're just trying to look at it up close, the left is probably your go-to. But if you're really trying to get that killer shot from behind, probably want to do that. Go from the.
I want to get a good shot from stealth.
All right, so you begin to approach from behind. Now, you are concealed from the creature, but because of the route that you're taking, I don't think you're going to be concealed from the party, because you have to move through some pretty open ground, at least from the party's perspective, to get there. So you guys all see Severus.
Oh, yeah, I'm okay with not being concealed from the party.
You guys see Severus moving behind several bushes, his cowl pulled over him, almost like a gecko's camouflage. It blends in with the surrounding terrain, and he holds his short bow. He seems to be a man on a mission, and I think, I don't want to presume, but I think it's pretty clear he has murderous intent.
Severus.
He's really far. Like he's already like looping around the left side of the house.
With the wind, there's no way I'm hearing them, right?
The wind isn't constant. It's just occasional shrieking that is deafening, but it's not constant. It's only when the creature screams.
If I had I don't think I have anything to like stuff my ears.
I mean, we have to kill this thing.
It'll die on its own. Besides,
how many more people will it kill until it dies on its own?
It's trapped there. Look, if it could move, it would have already.
Perfect time to take it out.
So once you get within 100 feet, Hecko, you do need to find something to plug your ears. You're going to start taking pretty substantial damage. Every time it screams. So what do you have that can do that? Or do you have anything? Your fingers will obviously not suffice.
Yes. This is weird, but maybe candles?
Yes, absolutely.
Ooh, like wax.
Candlesticks wax is that's like Odyssey type shit, so that's perfect. Yeah, you're gonna have to stay at about 110 feet listening to this occasional deafening screams, but you can melt that, get it soft enough that you can place it in your ears, and that's gonna be a bitch to remove later. You're gonna regret this for weeks to come, but for this exact moment, it works perfectly. You can remove probably one candle. I mean, you don't need that much wax, and you can begin to get closer. Now, you can't hear anything except for when it screams, and it still hurts your ears. Don't get me wrong. Like this, it pounds your headache. Like everything is painful, but you're not actively dying, which you would be if you got closer without these earplugs. And you are now 80 feet behind it. And from this perspective, you can actually see something that's a lot harder for those out front to see because they're so far away. The chain is actually searing into the flesh of this creature. It doesn't really have flesh, not in the traditional sense, but it seems to actually be taking an essence away from this creature. Its continued resistance to this seems to actively not only be killing it, but probably damaging it, angering it, causing the screaming and thrashing and raging that you see before you.
I wanna wait for another one of its airbursts, because it seems to do them semi-regularly, but like. So I want to wait until just after an airburst, hoping that he won't do one right away, so that my arrow is instantly like deflected by the wind.
And what exactly are you shooting?
I'm trying to shoot at the creature, like straight for the neck or something.
What type of arrow and shortbow do you have?
Regular non-magical arrow, non-magical shortbow.
Okay.
I'm not sure if this is going to do anything.
Sure. So from 80 feet away, you pull back the drawstring.
Just as I'm about to, release the arrow, I'm gonna send a quick prayer to the almighty God Emperor.
Yes. And fiery arrow. Advantage because you're from stealth, obviously. Creature didn't detect you. And your arrow whizzes towards it. You watch as it passes right through and strikes about 100 feet in front of the chained elemental in this long arcing strike. And for a second, everything goes still. The chained elemental looks at that arrow that just went through it, stares at the ground in front of it. You see its very limited cognition beginning to process. Then it turns. You are lucky, because 80 feet is just beyond any of its really nasty attacks, but it is now looking at you and screaming full volume. If you didn't have those things in, bad shit would be happening, we'll just say that. But now it just gives you a pounding headache, and if you'd like to withdraw, you can. You do seem to be out of range of any of its nasty attacks.
We think he's in danger.
I am.
You can see the creature screaming at him, but he seems fine. Yeah, and Severus is actively running away. Yeah, and now that its back is turned to the rest of the entire village alongside the four of you, you can see that searing into its flesh. Like, it's actively burning away the essence of this creature, the chain.
I think Renesmee will be very empathetic to this creature because a similar creature gave her powers. So she will probably be
intelligent, though, right?
Yes.
I hope.
But these are inherently neutral creatures.
Except that it's killed a bunch of people.
But that's
Yeah.
because it's being hurt by the mithril chains. The senator was probably captured it and wanted to keep it as a fucking pet or something, you know? Like we need to cut those
Put it out
chains,
of its misery.
please.
No. It will die eventually with the chain on. I think that's the best thing to do.
How
we
long
don't
will that
wanna
take?
lose-
I think we should confirm it.
Well, it's already shrinking.
Once Severus
how
exits
far has it?
a given range, like maybe probably at the edge of the screams, probably around 150 feet, you watch as the elemental sort of stops everything. It almost curls up into the tightest ball it can, and you watch as it attempts to lift up. It gets a solid 40 feet off the ground, like flying. It seems as if it's just about to get up there, and it's very clear its direction is going towards the mountains. And then this pulse of energy flies out from the chain constraining it, and it screams again, though no one's within range to really get damaged by it, and it slams into the earth. Actually, looking as it slams into the house, you're pretty sure that's what caused the original crash into this house based off the trajectory and the immediate fall.
Don't one of you have Dispel Magic?
No.
I might. One
Look
second.
at Renesmee.
Severus, are you looping back to the party, or are you staying near the back edge of this creature, so its back is to the main group?
Yeah, I think I'll pull it so with the attention away from the group for now.
Okay. Are you just going to fling some long-distance shots to distract it, or are you just staring at it and hoping it's to keep staring at you?
I know that, like, very inaccurately you could theoretically do this in real life. Can I use ball bearings to just my bow to, like, vaguely sling it into its area? I don't want to waste arrows on this.
Yeah, you're just, like, using your bowstring to, like, make a ball bearing sling and just throwing shit at its direction? Yeah, sure. I mean, none of it's going to hit, but I don't think you care about that.
Yeah, it's not about the hitting.
Yeah, 100%. You can do that. Renesmee,
just tell me how many to subtract later.
I do have Dispel Magic. I don't have spell slots until I have a long rest.
That's a tough
Well,
beat.
looks like we're waiting for this thing to kill itself on that.
If I move
Because it
forward
looks like-
to
Looks like it's
120
trying to go to
feet,
the mountain.
How loud is it?
If you get literally like 5-10 steps closer, you're gonna need to plug your.
Okay, but that's the extent of my range.
Yeah, at 120 feet, at least at the current level of the screams, it seems to be fine. Though when Severus took that shot, it was like way louder than the previous ones, significantly.
Okay.
Please, one of you,
Yep.
help me find a way to release it from the chains. I promise you that it will be normal.
Well, I
These are
know one
not
way.
harmful creatures.
Jesus
No,
Christ!
I'll launch my
Aeneas.
Eldritch Blast.
Not worried about that.
All right, what do you find the Eldritch Blast at? The creature or the chain or
Creature.
All right, 26 and a 22 both. You strike the creature, pushing it back 20 feet, and a deafening scream fills the area. Now, you actually push the creature closer to Severus. Severus is immune to this because
Well,
he has the stuff in his
I
ear.
wasn't gonna push it at all.
Oh, okay, then you definitely need to make a dex save. No, sorry, it wouldn't be a dex save, it'd be a int save.
Int.
Int, yeah. Alrighty. Make 2 since you hit it twice.
Int save, that's interesting.
Alright, so it's pass on both, so you take half damage.
Alright.
And you take a total. Not the end. Wow, Jesus. You take 10 piercing damage as blood begins to leak from your ears and your eardrums begin to perforate from the deafening volume.
As he
Wait, how
as
does
he
it sense?
attacks
It could be
this
force if you
creature,
want,
I'm gonna run forward and like just scream, like blood curdling, like no!
I don't think that was
I can
drowned
even
out
hear
by
you.
someone
Yeah, I think it was
else.
drowned out by the literal
No, that's fine,
air raid
but-
siren.
Yeah.
All right,
Are you backing up?
Alright.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
The creature is shrinking. As Maximus said, if you guys choose not to
Yes.
do anything, it will probably expire.
Yes, we can just do that. If we had a way of freeing it, I'd be all for it, because it looks like it's making for the mountains. But, like you said, you can't cast Dispel Magic, and that's the only way I can think of to get rid of the chain. Anyone else have a different idea of how to get rid of it without it, demolishing our eardrums?
I should have cast silence around me first. That would have been good.
That would have been insanely based.
I shake my head, like super crestfallen.
Well,
Actually, yeah, I'm gonna do it. We're not gonna do anything else today. I'm gonna wait for it to die back down, get close enough, cast silencer on my. Wait, does Eldritch Blast require?
Hello?
Like also.
Oh, hi, Hacko.
Well, my internet was
does.
cutting out, so
Yeah, I
I had
can
to.
tell.
Oh, yeah,
And what
that's
is
not happening then.
silence?
Yeah, I don't think there are any spells besides magic
Okay,
items. That
no. Hold on.
Oh.
I'll get within 120, drop silence on the creature. Would that
Is
Make
120 within range of the what's the range?
yes.
Casting range?
Silence is 120.
Wow.
Would sound
Okay,
get out
that's
of that
sick as
circle, or
fuck. I
no?
didn't even think about that. Yeah, you drop silence over the house, and for the first time, you didn't realize, even when the creature wasn't screaming, there was this background whistling of wind. The entire clearing goes silent, and I think everyone here just sort of looks around. Even you
Holy
guys look around,
firehead.
and it's basically like fucking tinnitus in your ear this entire time, and it just stops. Silence.
What'd you do, Zednius?
The same thing I did to the cleric. Shut it up.
No,
Jesus.
what did you actually do? God damn it, stop being weird.
Well, this lasts for a minute, so if you want to take advantage of this, I'd recommend. I think it's a minute.
I want to go.
10
10
minutes.
minutes.
10 minutes. 10 minutes.
Last 10, I can hold it here for 10 minutes quietly, so if we want to try and free it or kill it efficiently, now's our chance.
Oh, there sure as you can.
Can I put
Get
my
up to it.
bow away and walk
Yep.
up to it in a non-threatening way?
Yeah, you get to 100 feet, you watch as the jaw of this thing opens insanely wide, like a fucking cavernous maw, and you watch as, it's probably screams, you don't know, no sound comes out. You get closer now, 50 feet, it
Yeah, I'll
3/4 of
I'll
its
get
body
closer
becomes a
with him.
single giant open maw screaming in your direction. You even see even through the silence, the screaming doesn't get through, but some of the wind, like just the volume of airflow coming out of this creature, reaches you, and you feel like, a fan is pressing against you from, it feels like a couple feet away, but obviously it's 50 feet away still. Do you want to
Lord.
proceed closer, Severus?
I want to get into 30 feet
I'm
range.
up at his level now.
Okay, and you guys are on
my
opposite
horse.
sides of the creature. So the creature's like spinning from one direction, screaming at Maximus. The horse is sort of stepping back as wind presses against it. And Severus, now that you're this close, you're functionally under the effects of a gust of wind spell. So we're going to go to the battle map. And if possible, you can try to press closer to the creature, but it is going to actively use every means in its power to keep you away from it. And it can't scream and kill you like that, so it's going to have the result to...
No, don't
Gust of wind.
blast the chains while we're over here.
All right.
Yeah, I was
So we're
I was gonna unlock the chains. That was my idea.
Do you have a key?
I have Thieves' Tool that I can use at range through my mage hand.
All right, so we're going to roll initiative for Severus, Chained Air Elemental. Maximus.
If
Oh,
I
yeah,
want
Gust
to
of
ride
Wind.
closer,
I feel like Renesmee
am
would
I-
also have run up, but
Yeah, you
Yeah.
guys can. We're about 200 feet away, so
I'm
one round of
sticking
combat.
back.
Bare minimum.
I
Yeah.
could nuke the party right now by
I'm gonna pull
dropping
Gust of Wind
concentration.
for reading purposes.
Yeah, why would you do that, Zednius?
Just letting you know I can.
Saska.
It's about the
Wow,
implication,
thanks.
okay?
All right.
All right,
it's the
Maximus, he's
implication.
not
The
facing
implication.
The elemental's not facing you, so you can do what you would.
Oh, okay.
You're not being
I'm
affected by
gonna
the
look
Gust of Wind.
I'm gonna go look up Gust of Wind really quickly to see how bad this would be if I approached it.
Damage-wise, literally 0. It doesn't do damage. It just pushes you back.
Just push us.
This is like a last minute,
Oh.
like last resort. Has no other solution to protect itself.
Okay. Yeah, I'll. Oh, how close am I to it? Based.
Based on what?
Jesus,
No,
True.
based.
that's what he means. Anyways, so yeah, you approach close to the creature.
Yeah.
What?
Oh
What
God.
the fuck?
What?
How'd you do that?
What the hell happened?
I don't know. You did that.
Where'd it go?
He went to heaven.
He gone.
No, the tornado got him.
Yeah, true.
He fucking ascended, dude.
All
All right, and I'll draw my mithril longsword.
Haven't seen. Good.
What
There you go.
do the chains look like they're made out of?
Mithril.
Can mithril cut
sick.
mithril?
Can mithril cut mithril if you're strong enough?
Oh yeah, that's like that's not happening.
Oh, you're not strong, Seth.
Not that strong. Goddamn, it's like Kildrak strong.
Yeah, it is. Okay, like 27, right?
Yeah, if you wanted to, yeah, it was fucking absurd. All right, yeah, we'll make a couple. Fuck it, I'll action surge.
Okay. Jesus
Wham,
Christ,
bam,
Echo.
bam,
that's
bam.
a good ass fucking theme.
At the chain, right?
No.
All right, first 2 hit. Sorry, first 3 hit.
Saying
actually,
right.
because of how weakened it is.
Little Padme meme.
Shade, right? Despair.
All right, roll damage on the first 3. They all hit, and it's magical, so it actually does damage.
I don't know what the fuck that is.
It's versatile, but you're using it one-handed, so it'll burst damage.
Oh, is that how like the weapons work when you drag them on here? I don't like. Oh, I see. Okay.
I don't like it either, but that is how it works.
Because I hate it. Because I hate it.
Yeah, sure. And then roll damage on
There
the
we
final
are. I fixed it.
12 slashing. There you go. Wait, is this right? Yeah, it is. Okay. Yep, you slash it the final time. The creature, I mean, it screams, but silently. Severus, you are within a gust of wind spell. I believe it is the. Oh yeah, it starts in the line. So make a strength saving throw.
Yeah, about that.
All right, you get flung 15 feet backwards.
Am I prone or something?
I don't think so. No, you're not.
Cool.
And this pink zone is difficult.
Can I also ride in? I would like to ride in.
Maximus's turn is when you'll enter the.
I want to go right here,
Sure.
avoiding the gust of wind zone. I want to cast a mage hand.
Well, what's the AoE of silence?
20
Silence
feet,
it. He's out of the silence. It's
What's the
20 by
radius?
20.
20? Okay.
20 by 20.
Roughly.
Wait. All right. You have message, don't you?
I do.
I think he still has to speak.
Okay.
But
Please,
that's
please
not what I'm
communicate, because I am under the impression right now that we are both trying to kill this thing. If you
All right,
are
Severus,
attempting
so
to do
you're
something
casting-
different, please tell me.
What are you
I'm
doing,
not
Severus?
opposed to anything. Just tell me.
What are you doing, Severus?
My ears are plugged, so I can't hear you, Giga.
True. Paste. All right, what are you doing?
I can't even speak. This
Yeah.
isn't
I
Maximus
speak.
yelling at him.
Yep.
God.
It was here to plug the IRL too.
Since I have literally no damage that isn't non-magical. Yeah, Mage Hand is being cast
Okay, what's it doing?
on top of me, and it's gonna. I'm gonna give it my.
Oh,
feet
because you're the
tools.
special boy. Wow.
Yes.
Put that feature in chat.
And I'm
Just to
gonna
make sure
give-
I understand how it works. I'm pretty sure it just allows you to do.
You can use
Okay,
these
so-
tools to pick locks.
Yeah,
on
he's an
disarmed
arcane
casting
trickster.
range.
It allows you to pick locks using your thing. You can use to. Great.
Exactly. Yes.
Now-
Specifically says
Now
that.
there is one
Damn.
problem. What's the range on Mage Hand?
30 feet.
We're lucky. Because if it was 5 feet closer, I'd say you're just casting in a gust of wind, and the Thieves' Tools will instantly get fucking blown like 100 feet away.
Yeah, I was
But-
gonna cast it like here and then have it like.
Yeah, but if it's 30 feet, then it can easily, you can just put it like outside the. Okay. Yeah, you summon it outside the gust of wind, make me a Thieves' Tool check. To be honest, you
Wait.
need to roll pretty high.
Wait, did I? Wait, how does this work? I thought I need to give the Mage Hand my Thieves' Tools first.
Yeah, you can just do that as a free item interaction, man.
Oh, yeah, and then it moves all the way. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Make a Thieves' Tool check.
Um,
Trimple as.
All right. Shrimple as Thieves' Tools.
Unless it's clamplicated.
Over here.
Jesus
Ooh.
Christ!
Oh my
All right,
gosh.
the Mage
Yeah,
Hand emerges.
expertise.
It
Damn.
instantly clicks. Chain falls away. On the Air Elemental's turn, it's no longer
My
chained.
eyes get wide.
It's going to fly up, and actually, I think it moves like. Are you going to take an opportunity attack, Maximus?
No, if I saw the chain going up and it leaving, I'll leave.
Okay, it's going to fly a total of 270 feet in 6 seconds, so it is gone. Actually, you don't even see it anymore. It just goes invisible because the chain was the only thing keeping it tethered. So it just disappears, and then you hear almost like a fucking rocket engine as it lifts off. Action out.
All right, and I'll drop silence.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm immediately fucking.
It literally just skipped my turn.
Severus, if that was your plan, you could have told me not to get right up next to it. What if it had
And I-
attacked me?
Yeah,
Don't
you're
think
here
so.
now, Renesmee, as you ride in on horseback.
I will ride up to Severus and
His ears are still
this-
plugged, by the way.
yeah.
I
I
was
will
just
ride up
standing
to
there
him,
smiling, not understanding a single word.
and I will hop off of my horse and uncharacteristically just fucking embrace him genuinely and like give him the biggest hug. I don't care if he is reciprocal or not, and I will just say thank you.
I'm gonna stand by to physically prevent a stabbing of Renesmee. No? Nothing? Okay, alright, cool.
All right. Well,
Alright. Renesmee
Yeah.
has not been stabbed.
a deafened.
Okay, I'm gonna motion for him to take out the earwax. The wax.
Yeah.
As he takes it out, he hears, "Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you."
Yeah, I mean, Severus, so to remove your earwax, you could just do the classic method of sticking the knife in the middle, twisting it, and trying to pull it out, which will get the majority of it, but as I said, you're gonna have a lot of fucking... this was a long-lasting decision for Severus, a big character, in fact, really.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I'm mostly memeing, but also, that's gonna be a bitch to get out of your ears. You need to take a warm bath.
I have extremely good sleight of hand, you know?
What the fuck does that have to do with anything?
That means I'm
I can
really
do
good
coin
with my
tricks, therefore I
fingers,
have
being
domination
precise.
of all things related to hands.
He'll scrape his ears cleanly.
Jesus
Very simple.
Christ. That's horrible.
Shrimple ass.
All right. Well, anyways, so yeah, you take out the earplugs and then Renesmee, you know, thank you, thank you, thank you. Yeah, and the clearing goes quiet. The townsfolk are still just in fucking shock. They don't know what the fuck they just. It was a lot for them.
I'll just say, Renesmee,
You're also standing like right
For
next to the
what?
corpses of an entire family of killed people, including children.
I just thought that if we break the chain, then maybe it just leaves.
I like, what's it called? When you're like hugging someone and then you like pull back, but like you're holding onto their shoulders.
Yeah.
And I go,
so you're just squeezing him.
"Thank you, Severus. Thank you for letting him live. It was just an air elemental, and nobody else believed me, but they're very neutral creatures, and they have all of my respect. And
Listen,
now you do too."
I'm gonna be very honest. The only reason I didn't kill it is because I couldn't. My arrow went right through
My
that thing.
smile on it just fucking drops, and I drop my arms, and I go,
Yep.
"Oh."
Thank me, Renesmee.
I tried. My arrow went right through it. But
Wow.
the next time I'll see an elemental, I'll try to resolve it non-violently. Sorry about that.
I'll cross
Severus,
my
I'm
arms.
like envious of Severus
Oh.
getting a big hug that I haven't gotten from anyone this whole campaign. I'll say, you could thank me,
Badge.
Renesmee. I dropped the spell that made us able to get close. And I have
True,
my
that
arms
spell
wide
was
open.
quite
Now me
useful.
being kind of pissed off, I look over my shoulder. "Thanks, Dad."
Damn.
Severus, can you tell me your plan next time so that I'm not standing right next to it when you set it free?
Oh, sorry about that.
Yeah, would have been nice. I know you can do that thing in your head where you send the message. I know
Yeah,
about that. I don't think I don't.
I know you.
But no harm, no foul. So nothing bad happened. It doesn't really matter.
Well, the elemental has been defeated. Or set free, I guess, more accurately. It wasn't really an enemy to begin with.
Wait, I wanna take a sigh, Renesmee, and just say, I just thought I have no idea what these creatures are. Okay. I just thought it's something crazy rampaging, and the first instinct, of course, is to kill. No.
Did you not hear me screaming to save it?
Yes.
To
I
give
had
it
my
mercy.
ears plugged.
No.
No, but he
Protect my
wasn't
ears
around
against
at
the
the
wind.
beginning.
I don't think he heard.
No, I was
Oh.
sneaking up to it. I had my ears plugged right away.
I narrow my eyes at Severus. Well, I'm glad that things went the way that they went. And
Also, sometimes you know, a bit over the top. So sometimes I just assume that whatever you're saying, maybe I should be less serious.
I raise my eyebrows.
Oh.
Over the top?
Oh no! I just said that.
Over the top?
Oh no,
You know,
Renesmee.
you can come off very strongly sometimes compared to some of us.
I'm going to get ready to stop a stabbing of Severus by Renesmee now.
Yes.
You think that I'm over the top or trying to defend
She's
an
gonna
innocent
turn into a
creature?
freaking dire bear. and
Well-
eat you.
Well, let's just say you're very intense and
Yes, we have much to discuss.
I
on the
scoff,
way
and I
back.
fucking
Inform you
walk
that we're
away.
done with this.
I go like, and I walk.
Shall
All
we discuss it then?
So,
and I'll just say in through entirely. Jesus Christ,
Everyone,
this person like 16.
we should all have the,
God.
Listen, I was held captive.
Holy
we should
shit.
tell the townspeople we killed it, right?
She's a little bit
I think they know.
They saw us free it? Oh,
Yeah. They were right there.
rip.
Oh, you can't just not lie to them. So
Well, we solved the problem. Is
is the thing. And even better, we figured out what killed the 2 people that was sent, not the governor.
Yeah.
Well, we
Unless
don't
the governor
necessarily
gifted
know
it
that
to
the
him.
first guy got killed.
You seem to
but-
really like this governor, you know.
The governor went to the mountains, like the absolutely rural mountains, and gave this to this one guy.
I'm
That's-
just
that's
skeptical,
obviously
is
what
all I'm
happened.
saying, especially after what we know he's doing to,
Well, the back and forth about who's at fault and the exact details of the case, perhaps even the autopsy, if you still care about that, can be left for next time,
That's
because
right.
we have reached our
Forgot about
time.
that.
Wait, no, we
yes.
have 4 minutes. But we're close enough to our time that I think we can leave that
XPs?
for next
Good
time.
enough.
Yes, we do have XP, so I'm going to count this as defeated. Now, obviously, you didn't kill it, but this is also a valid solution. So, this was a greater air elemental, CR13, fun fact.
Oh,
Ooh.
that is
so-
really powerful.
I see why my little sword strike did nothing.
Yeah, if you had actually stayed, if you had not freed it that turn, it was going to use all 3 of its slam attacks against you, and you probably would have died due to massive damage.
Oof.
Yeah.
You know what? Never mind, Severus.
Because
I'm upset.
I thought I had thoroughly, like, sort of foreshadowed that based off the fact of the sheer devastation it wrought on the land. But, you know, that's all right.
In hindsight,
How
yeah.
much
In
XP
hindsight,
would I
yeah.
have gotten if I just
hindsight's
if I just
20/20.
peppered it for 10 minutes with my Eldritch Blast? Then we killed it.
You would not have killed it.
Even with 10 minutes of
So
peppering with
the thing
Eldritch?
is, 10 minutes of straight Eldritch Blast, yes. But the thing is, it wasn't totally immobile. You saw with its
Oh,
brief attempt to fly, it would have basically used all its remaining life force literally just to kill you.
okay.
It would have no
Just-
other purpose
just
in
him?
life except to end yours. You guys get 2,200 XP
Each?
each.
How many? Hold on.
That's a level
That's
up,
a
right?
level up.
2,200 XP each.
Ooh, level up.
Nice.
you-
You
20.
unfortunately you cannot do that until you take a long rest.
We'll need one
and his-
anyway.
Alex and his stupid level up rules.
How much
I
experience?
find that completely
Oh,
reasonable.
Lars posted
We're
the new
all
total.
gonna be level
Six.
6
Got
after this.
Yeah. Well, a couple more jobs left for the old senator. A couple I's to dot. But this was, you guys did a good job. Followed the leads. Didn't get hung up on the individual ones because there was a lot of, like, you could have easily dove into any one of these mysteries involved in this chain and just been there for hours trying to be like, what the fuck killed this person? But, you know, you followed the evidence and followed it.
We
north,
do not care.
Yeah,
Okay.
Are the
Alright, well.
rest of them just going to be?
Is there
just-
XP for
just gonna
completing
be
the
having
necro
to, like,
mission?
having us investigate the governor and then it having nothing to do with the governor?
Maybe. What were you saying, Yogi?
Did we get the XP for the
Yeah, that was worth
anatomy
almost
guy?
nothing.
Okay.
It was worth a little bit. It was worth normal quest XP, which is included in
Yeah,
the
just
2000.
quest XP.
But it was
Okay.
like not that dangerous in any way, really. In fact, you actually did more damage to that person than I thought.
All we did was make him go to sleep
And
and then ruin his entire business.
And then
there it
ruin
is.
his
Okay,
entire
there's the
life.
second part. I was gonna say, yeah, the
Ruined
second
his
part
life
is
work.
ending his entire career prospect.
I gave him an out, and he
Seems a
said
bit
no.
much. Alright.
He'd rather destroy his life's work than.
Then be forced to join the Legion as a conscript. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Well,
That's- We're all horrible people. Every single one
well,
of
I think we'll be back here for a normal time next week. So I will see you all then. That was episode 9. I think. I can't count. But I think that was
That's,
9.
Is everyone okay if just a heads up to everyone? Every now and then there may have to be a session that's pushed back like an hour. I'm starting my class here, so that goes to like a different time every day. So is that okay with everyone?
Hecko might be the only one that has like a. big
Yeah, how
issue.
These
degen
sessions
do you
usually
want?
start with me for me with at 11 p.m. and then at 3 a.m.
Yes.
So starting 1 hour later is. It would
I mean,
depend on
you're
the day
being
for
at 3
sure.
a.m. versus 4 a.m. I mean, what's really the difference?
Honestly, Hakon is not that wrong on that part.
Well, we can deal with
theoretically.
yeah, we can deal with the scheduling stuff later. I do want to respect everyone's time.
The Alex sleep schedule.
True.
Right there.
Well, yeah, we will deal with
yeah,
this before next week. I'll see you guys all
back
later.
Oh yeah. Also,
we have
sorry,
an
I completely forgot about getting a new picture.
That's fine.
Like
We'll
token.
figure it out.
Yeah, I'll do it until next week. I
Is
just
there an
forgot.
after session Q&A with the DM? Because I have a question.
Yeah, we can do that
Uh-oh.
afterwards.
Okay.
Well, all right. Thank you very much.